And on this Saturday night, that is the Fountain and Gore Park in downtown Hamilton. We're set for football. The Hamilton Ticats and the Edmonton Eskimos. It's the CFL on CBC. Edmonton coach Tom Higgins is feeling the pressure after a rough start. This is the Eskimos' fourth game in just 15 days. They have only one win to show for it, and they'll need to pick it up if they hope to keep pace in the Wild West. Pressure is nothing new for the Ticats Ron Lancaster. With quarterback Danny McManus still on the sidelines, Hamilton must rely on the backups Pete Gonzalez and Reggie Slack to carry them through. Tonight, they try for their first win as they're home here at Iverwin Stadium. Well, about 90 minutes ago, heavy thunderstorms rolled through the Golden Horseshoe area. That's kept the humidity down, lowered the temperature. That's good news. Skies are clearing to the west, and we're all set for football here at Iverwin Stadium. If you are just joining us, good evening. I'm Brian Williams. Welcome to the CFL on CBC. Breaking news here as we go up to Chris Cuthbert and Chris Walby. Chris, I understand Hendricks and not Ricky Ray is starting at quarterback tonight for Tom Higgins and the Eskimos. Just what's the story?
Yes, Brian, we've just been told that Ricky Ray suffered an undisclosed injury against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He is available tonight, but as a precaution, they will start Bart Hendricks, and it means it's his first CFL start.
Well, then also, we watched the warm-ups, and we saw Ricky Ray throw a few balls, so we are surprised. But the big thing about Bart Hendricks, they love the way this guy plays. I mean, Coach Higgins says he's got game. He's mobile, he escapes from trouble. He's young, but he makes good decisions on the football field. I expect to come out, and they won't miss a beat.
Terrific preseason for Bart Hendricks, so it will be a battle of backups tonight with Pete Gonzalez going for Hamilton. What's your take on the Tiger Cats' unspecial performance on special teams in Toronto?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'd put a bucket in front of me. That's how I think about it right now. It's terrible. I'll tell you what, when you play yourself onto a football team, the way you stay on the football team is through special teams. You know what, if you got one job and that's to snap the ball, no excuse. You got to get it. If you have another assignment going down for container, making a tackle, make the tackle, break down. You cannot drop the football on punts. You got to cover on punt returns. You know, this is all one thing. The biggest thing is Hamilton, you better, the players on special teams, they better pick up their play or they'll be picking up their bus ticket.
32 points out of the 49 Toronto scored as a result of special teams. So, how about your Canadian Tire game notes?
Well, for game notes for Edmonton, and basically on offense, you know, we got to talk about it's the red zone. You know what? Last week, you got opportunities to score that's inside the 20-yard line. You got to put points on the board. No offensive touchdowns last week. On defense, for Edmonton, hey, you got to play discipline, no penalties. A lot of times they take penalties after the whistle that allows the offensive drive to continue. Can't have that and expect to win the football games. Conversely, on Hamilton on offense, you got to stop the 2 and outs. Your defense is on the field way too long. Put some drives together, put some points together, gain some momentum. And on defense, come on, baby, create turnovers. Now, the biggest thing is the defense isn't playing bad, but you got to create turnovers to help that offense.
Game notes brought to you by Canadian Tire. Let's get started.
Well, as the panel mentioned earlier, this is a friendlier place to play because of new artificial turf which was installed. Now, to look at the turf, you'd think it was natural grass, but if you take a little bit closer look, you can see there are little grains of rubber, and this gives it a lot of bounciness. It's more friendly. That's why the players love it. They'll say it means less injuries. Now, the shoe of choice for most of these players tonight will be half-inch cleats, what they would normally use on natural grass. Now, let's head back to Chris and Chris.
Thank you, Brenda. It was a lake out there about 90 minutes ago, so the drainage outstanding here on the new Astro Play turf. And we're just about set. The Eskimos 1-2, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the lone team without a victory early in this Canadian Football League season. And this is Winston October from inside his 20. We'll get an early gauge of the special teams. And he's brought down by Sean Woodson at the 42-yard line, a 28-yard return by October. And there is Bart Hendricks getting last-second instructions from offensive coordinator Danny Machocha.
Well, as you say, he was 3 of 4 in a short stint he had against Montreal in the first game of the season, but he did play well in the preseason, throwing for 2 touchdowns in a preseason victory over the British Columbia Lions, so he can play the game.
Called only 5 plays last year. He'll start with a 5-receiver pack, and the lone setback is Mike Pringle. Short drop and a completion to Herbie up near midfield. And a first down for the Eskimos as we set the green and gold offense.
Oh, nice job of getting the ball out there quickly. And of course, it starts Pringle in the backfield. Hendricks with the starting quarterback. And Troy Mills, he can get it done at the fullback position. The receiving crew, Herbie, Bailey, Vaughn, Scott Robinson with a second start at the wide receiver position. On the offensive line, a big and a good one. Beaton, Comiskey, Princeton, Lefsrud, and Chris Morris, the big veteran on the right tackle position.
Tim Princeton was a member of the '99 Hamilton Ticat Grey Cup team. First round pick of the Tiger Cats. Mike Pringle puts his head down and bounces forward to the 50. And close to 6 for Pringle on his first carry, as we set a Ticat defense for you that hasn't been as bad as the 0-2 start would indicate.
They played pretty good. I mean, they played good enough to win some football games. Sheetwood, McDonald, Scott, Joe Monfrey, you know all about him at the rush end position. Schelling, Scott Coe at the linebacker, Sean Woodson, a good linebacker to Sam, Mathis, Saunders, Walters, Fishers, Hamilton at the cornerback.
Second down and 4 for the Eskimos. Bart Hendricks at the controls, and he has time to pull it down and lunge forward for a first down. So the Eskimos put back-to-back first downs together on their initial drive with Bart Hendricks at the controls.
Well, they talk about Bart Hendricks' his ability to, if he doesn't see something, he won't throw the ball up in the air. He'll pin it down and take off, pick up some yards. But Ricky Ray did a little bit of that last week. He rushing for 60 yards against a tough Winnipeg defense. So even though that Ray's got that label of not a runner, he does run when he has to.
And again, we're told Ricky Ray is available, but they'd like to see Hendricks go the distance here in this fourth game in 15 days for the Eskimos. Mike Pringle again, and up the gut there is some room for Pringle to cross the 40 down to the 38, and it looks like close to another 6-yard pickup for Pringle.
Well, that's excellent first down production. 6 yards puts him in a second and short, and you get to use the entire playbook. The big thing about that too is it gets your offensive lineman in the game too. Instead of sitting in a pass pro protection mode, you're coming off the ball, you're attacking that aggressive Hamilton defense.
8 times 100 yards or better against Hamilton for Mike Pringle, including a 200-yard game as a member of the Baltimore Stallions. Second and 5, again short drop, and Robinson dropped the ball. Contact from the defensive end, Tim Sheetwood, showing his range and breaking up the play.
Well, Tim Sheetwood, they have run a nice little scam here. Sheetwood drops, Chris Schelling, the outside linebacker, comes. He's on the right-hand part of your screen. They just switch positions. It's an attempt to confuse the offensive line of the Edmonton Eskimos. Nice job of switching it up.
And part of a different defensive package that has been installed in Hamilton this year. So Sean Fleming will come on, and he will punt the football away. Eskimos trying to pin Hamilton instead of opting for a 47-yard field goal. And the ball will be marked outside the 15-yard line. So we're scoreless early at Ivor Wynne Stadium in Hamilton. Well, Tom Higgins continues his conservative approach against Winnipeg, Chris. They opted not to try a field goal from 31 yards in a game they lost by 2. Here, a 47-yard attempt was turned down instead of Sean Fleming punting the ball, and only a 21-yard punt, so they don't even pin Hamilton deep.
You know what? I don't ever think you can play conservative. I think anytime you got a chance to put points on the board, you take them, because they may come back and bite you in the backside, and that's what it did last week at Winnipeg. As you say, Troy came back against the win and kicked a 38-yarder, so you got to wonder sometimes.
So Pete Gonzalez will start for Hamilton, and he pitches to Troy Davis, and Davis ran into Kelvin Powell, ball loose, and right on it is Malcolm Frank, and the Eskimos get it right back. A disastrous start for a Hamilton offense that has sputtered in the opening weeks of the year.
This does nothing for the Comets. It's just going to be a pitch to the short side. Gonzalez just going to give it back, pitch it to Troy Davis. Now he tries to cut it back upside. Nice hit of Powell. The ball just squirts loose, but that's the 6th fumble in the third game right now. They had 5 in the previous 2. We talked about playing discipline. You've got to play smart. Hold on to that football. You know, those are momentum killers. Anytime you're trying to create something, you put the ball on the ground like that. Now look at the field position you've given the Eskimos.
Calvin Powell with the contact, the middle linebacker who leads the Eskimos with 15 tackles coming into this game, and now Hendricks and the Eskimos are set up at the Hamilton 12. And Hendricks on a misdirection got away from Montfort. And Bart Hendricks inside the 5, down to the 1. And that shows you how elusive he is, as somehow he escaped the grasp of Joe Montfort.
Well, he showed a little bit of elusiveness, but he also showed some strength, because Joe Montfort is not the easiest guy to break away. Just a little play action. He's going to come back against the flow. Sets up, can't find anything, won't force the throw, gets to the outside. The strength of Bart Hendricks is illustrated right there in the fact that he breaks usually a sure tackling Joe Montfort's grasp.
Do you think that was a mistake in the backfield as Pringle ran by?
Well, remember, you got a new quarterback in there right now, hasn't taken a lot of reps.
First and goal from the 1. Mike Pringle is over for the touchdown. So they convert after the Hamilton fumble, and it took just 2 plays to punch it in.
Well, remember the disaster in Toronto last week where Hamilton had 24 points scored off of turnovers. It's just not a good thing to start your football game off on right now. You want to come out, you're pumped up, everybody's on the high, you want to get things going positive. You fumble the first play offensively, and that's what the criticism has been about the offense. Right away, everybody on defense is going, here we go again.
Mike Pringle with his first Edmonton Eskimo touchdown. And now Fleming on to add the extra point. The number 3 quarterback, Jason Moss, is the holder. And the Eskimos strike early. Before the 5-minute mark, it's 7-0 Edmonton. Back at Ivor Wynne, where Mike Pringle has struck for the first major of the game after the Hamilton turnover.
Back at home, how can you? Isaiah.
Now Troy Davis fumbled the football on the first carry for the Tiger Cats. He is wearing a cast on his left wrist.
And he was carrying the ball in his right hand, and as you know, as he's coming around, running to the left, that exposes the ball to the tacklers, and that's what happened. And as a result, Powell got the helmet on it and forced the fumble.
Cracked scaphoid bone in his left wrist. There's Larry Davis trying to give Hamilton some field position. And he lunges across the 30, fumbles the ball, and uh-oh, it might be another one of those nights.
Well, he was touched when he went down. They're going to say that the ground can't cause a fumble if there's contact. If he fell without being touched and the ball came loose, then it would be indeed a fumble. Well, take another look at it as he comes around. And he's really carrying that ball way out there, but you can see he's on the ground. The referee is right there making the call.
We did see in that highlight pack you showed off the top of the telecast that he fumbled a punt at Skydome last week, so it's a jittery Tiger Cat start. They go to work, first down, and Gonzalez trying to get away from Raheem Abdullah, and Steve Charbonneau cleans up the mess back at the 23.
Well, 10th sack of the year against this offensive line, who only gave up 50 last year, but we talked about the fact it's a new quarterback. He's going to set up. He's not Danny McManus. He's going to hold on to that ball. He's going to try and make something happen. As a result, there will be pressure. You have to hold on to your blocks a little longer. Steve Charbonneau and the rest of that D-line meeting at the quarterback.
A loss of 9, and Ron Lancaster has seen this movie before. Let's see if they can turn it around here. 2nd and 19, high snap. Gonzalez heat on, and he throws a completion to Archie Amerson over the middle, short of the first down, but the fans respond to a fine play between Gonzalez and Amerson.
Well, you really got to like the courage of Pete Gonzalez, just sitting in the backfield. See Archie Amerson just curling around, dragging over the middle, a little bit of an angle. He actually has contact early by Cordell Taylor, but still a good concentration. But look at him hanging in the pocket. Knows he's going to get hit. You don't teach that to a quarterback. He knows he's going to get hit. The toughest ones, the good quarterbacks who've developed into great quarterbacks, know they're going to take some punishment, but will hang in there to deliver that football.
I remember Mark Verbeek had trouble snapping the ball last week. Paul Osbaldiston takes that one. And a nice punt after a fine snap in October at his 23. Let's see if the coverage is good, and it is. So all 3 phases on that Hamilton punt. An improvement over their last start to 48-yard kick.
Well, the big thing is you want to make sure your special teams really pick it up. I mean, they can be the big catalyst, the spark if your offense is sputtering. So
So after the fumble by Hamilton, Hendricks capitalizes. It's the first quarter points that the Eskimos have tallied this season. And there's some heat on the Edmonton Eskimos coming into this game, as you see Sean Coe, the Hamilton middle linebacker. They don't want to go home 1-3 in the highly competitive Western Division. Hendricks had to pull it down. Now he's got Terry Vaughn up across midfield, and Vaughn pulled down at the Edmonton 51.
Well, here's the difference. We saw what happened when the Hamilton offensive line could not give Gonzalez time to find somebody downfield. Well, Edmonton gives him time. This allows Terry Vaughn to signal the quarterback that he's open. You see him waving at the top of your screen. Bart Hendricks does a nice job of finding him.
Already the 18th catch. Already the 18th catch of the season for Terry Vaughn. And now Pringle tries the right side. A lot of room, and Pringle into the secondary all the way down to the 31-yard line.
Well, you knew he was just going to bust one right off tackle. Nice job, Pringle. He is a north-south runner. Once he gets going, he's hard to bring down.
Following the block of right guard Kevin Lefsrud.
A good offensive line creates nice job of opening a hole.
Now Lamar Bryant checking in late. It's a first down for the Eskimos at the Hamilton 31. Hendricks on a roll. Kyle Walters, or Sean Woodson brings him down. Sean Woodson from his outside linebacker position, bringing Bart Hendricks down for a loss.
Well, good pressure, 17. Sean Woodson coming off the corner. Little fake bootleg, get outside. He's just going to track him down. That's the good speed of the outside linebacker to Sam, strong side linebacker. Sean Woodson to come all the way across and bring down Bart Hendricks.
Well, we talk about the youngster Coe in the middle, but he's got two veterans on either side. In Woodson, 4 years in the Ticat linebacking corps, and Chris Schelling, a 6-year vet. So it's 2nd and 14. And Hendricks to the left side, and he has a completion. That's Scott Robinson down to the 22-yard line. He'll be short of the first down.
And one of the things you really like about what Hendricks is doing right now is he's moving the pocket. You know, it's a hot, humid day. Tire out that defense. Roll to your right. Use a bootleg. Roll to the right. Roll to the left on this occasion. He sets back up there, puts himself in a good position where he's only going to go to one side of the field. But again, Scott Robinson finding the hole in that zone, just sitting down underneath, making a nice play.
Here's Danny Machocha, the offensive coordinator, a little concerned about how beat up his troops were coming into this game. And now 3rd and 1, and the Eskimos are gambling, and both Troy Mills and Mike Pringle are lined up behind Hendricks. It'll be Mills, first man through, and lunging forward. Looks like he should have enough.
Well, you like the way they're doing that as they flare out Pringle, and he's going to pull one person out of the box, one of the defenders out of the box. Quick hit up the middle to the ever reliable Troy Mills.
So as we approach the 10-minute mark of this first quarter, Bart Hendricks as the Eskimo offense moving the chains. 1st and 10 from just outside the Ticat 20. Again, Pringle, and there's contact, and a solid hit there by Chris Schelling. All-Canadian 2 years ago, and that's a great collision between Schelling and Pringle.
Well, that's meeting the back of the hole. We talked about the fact you got to get down. You can't take Pringle up high. He's a power horse. He's going to drop the shoulder. You can see him drop the shoulder. He tries to run over Schelling. Schelling, one of the surest tacklers, one of the toughest guys, and that linebacking crew will have none of it.
Well, you talked about how Scott Coe would have to get low to meet Pringle in the hole. That's exactly what Schelling did, and it sets up 2nd and 9. Hendricks the throw, and the ball is dropped on the contact by Brandon Hamilton. The pass intended for Brock Ralph.
But the big thing is one play always generates excitement, and the rest of the defense can feed off it. You saw Schelling with that great stick on Pringle. Now you see Hamilton come up and jar the bar loose from Brock Ralph. Instead of letting the drive continue, picking the first down, they got to bring on the field goal unit.
Brandon Hamilton, the 10-year veteran who began his career in 1994 as an Eskimo. Now Edmonton will attempt a 26-yard field goal. Sean Fleming's hit 5 straight. And make it 6 in a row for Sean Fleming as the Eskimos expand their lead here in the first quarter at Ivor Wynn. Well, we had a torrential downpour just under 2 hours ago, but the sun's shining now at Ivor Wynn. Ron Lancaster doesn't want to make a habit of blowout losses, but his teams have usually responded after lopsided losses. As you can see, they've won 3, lost 1 in overtime, another by a point after losing by 30 points or more in the game prior.
Well, if they want to keep that trend going, they're going to have to pick it up an awful lot right now. Not turn over that ball, quit fumbling.
Larry Davis fighting the sun, and now taking off. And he's brought down by the youngster Rashad Genty, the 20-year-old, who has joined the Eskimos starting front 4 as Pete Gonzalez tries to get things going for the Hamilton offense.
Well, he had the 1 completion on the last drive on a drag pattern by Archie Emerson. He needs to keep doing that, put the ball downfield, but don't forget the running game. Even though Troy Davis put it on the ground on his first carry, don't lose confidence. You must have that running game.
And you can see it's been all Eskimos so far. A sputtering start for this Hamilton offense. Here's Troy Davis trying to pick his way, and he is met again in the backfield. Davis finished 3rd in rushing last year. That's his 18th carry this season, and he hasn't hit the 50-yard mark yet.
Well, you have to get your offensive line in front of you to make a hole right now, and they're getting, the offensive line that are pulling are getting stuffed in the hole. When they get stuffed in the hole, the back has nowhere to go, and he tries to stutter step, slows down, doesn't accelerate. As a result, the defense is there to make the play.
Top back in the East last year, just 25 yards against Toronto, 16 on 10 carries in the Ottawa game. So 2nd down and a pass in the flat that Amerson is unable to grab. And a quick 2 and out.
Well, it's a picture of frustration right now. You need to believe that your offense can get the job done. You have to have confidence in your quarterback. You must believe that the man behind the center right now, Pete Gonzalez in this instance, can get the job done. And right now I see players walking off the field, shaking their head. There's no confidence at all.
Nobody knew.
Osbaldiston, 48 yards with his first punt.
Let him go.
This one not as good. And it bounces down around the 44. October grabs it there. There'll be no yards against Hamilton. And a short return. Just a 32-yard punt. Ron Lancaster yesterday talked about this new AstroPlay surface and that you don't get any large bounces of the football off the new artificial carpet. And we saw that there.
Well, the ball just kind of goes dead when it hits the ground. Kicks up a little rubber pellet. Doesn't bounce very much, but the players, again, I mean, they have an opportunity on that play to back out of the 5-yard zone. Don't take another penalty. I mean, like Kate doing this.
Now there's a lot of pressure now on this Hamilton defense. It's played well, but somehow they've got to dig their heels in and buy some time for the Hamilton offense to keep this close. Eskimos starting at their own 49. Hendricks hands the ball off. Mike Pringle has room off the right side again. And he is brought down by Joe Montfort, but not before Pringle has an 11-yard carry.
Well, Pringle does a nice job of getting through that hole, but the offensive line has just caught a little slide protection. They're going to push everybody to the right. Let the back, Pringle, find the opening. He's been around long enough to find a hole. He can smell it. Does a nice job of turning it up, picking up a 1st down.
Well, he is en route to perhaps his first 100-yard game of the year. He is 1 shy of George Reed's record. Reed was 66 100-yard games. Pringle was 65. And Hendricks to the air, over the middle, and the ball up for grabs. He was trying to hook up with Corey Bailey, who draws into the lineup with the injury to Jason Tucker. Stephen Fisher in coverage.
Good protection from the offensive line. Allows Bart Hendricks just to sit back there and wait for the play to develop. Puts it where it has to be. But Corey Bailey goes off the shoulder pad, and Fisher almost comes up with an interception.
Well, the Ticats feel that the defense has played well enough to win the first 2 games. Now trying to stop the Eskimos from padding their lead here on 2nd and 10. Hendricks rolling left, looking downfield. Bailey wide open, and he cannot reel it in. Stretching out, but unable to make that circus catch.
Almost, as you say, a circus catch. Sticking the right paw up, trying to bring it down. Ball comes dislodged just as he hits the ground. But what a wonderful effort by 82. Again, slide protection. The offensive line is just going to slide to the left, allow the quarterback, Bart Hendricks, to get behind him. Stay with the flow. It allows you a little extra time for protection point of view.
Live.
Oh, we remember that great catch by the man he replaced, Jason Tucker. Against the Calgary Stampeders, Fleming, a high punt. This one fielded at the 6. Nice move by Davis, and he bought a few extra yards up the sidelines. Roger Reintz in the Melville, Saskatchewan product brought Davis down, and the Hamilton punt returner seems to be shaken up on the play. Davis, the fastest member of this Hamilton Tiger Cat team, and now he's up and will head off.
Just tries to spin away from that tackle, gets his foot caught a little bit in this grass, but this grass is a little forgiving, Chris, in the fact that with the rubber pellets, it doesn't allow your foot to actually stick as much as it would with turf.
Well, Davis back down again, and he'll require attention on the field with 69 seconds remaining in the first quarter, dominated by Edmonton. Well, Alfred Payton with the ACL injury. Albert Reese is out at least a week as he was injured in the final minute against Winnipeg. So Rashad Genty, a 20-year-old who was one of the top-ranked high school players in the United States a couple of years ago, is now in the starting Eskimo defensive lineup.
Well, you never know when opportunity is going to be knocking. Right now, they look to develop this kid. They thought he's going to be a good player down the road, but with the injury, as you say, to Alfred Payton, he gets to start today.
Gonzalez, play action. This time he has time to throw it, and he overthrows Tony Akins. Incomplete.
Well, Tony Akins, who hasn't had a catch all year, which is really a remarkable feat when you figure he's playing in the position that would normally be played by Darren Flutie, who had all those wonderful years as a receiver. See Genty working inside, little stunt. A little frustrated going against a little bigger guys than normally in college.
So Gonzalez looks at 2nd and 10 from the 14-yard line. Has a little more time downfield, and this time pass behind the intended receiver, Tyree Davis. And once again, 2 and out for Hamilton.
Well, there's just no chemistry between the quarterback and the receivers right now. No matter what the quarterback thinks the receiver's doing, they're always on the opposite page or on the wrong page. He gets good protection this time. He sits back. Line does a nice job of washing everything to the inside. He got a great passing lane. Sits in there, double pumps, looks for the guy. But again, Tyree Davis thinking it's coming to the inside. The ball goes to the outside. Once again, miscommunication, no chemistry. Falls incomplete, and once again they got a punt.
And go.
4 possessions, 1 fumble, 3 2-and-outs for the Tiger Cats. And here is Winston October. Got a block, and Winston October takes off inside the 35, all the way down to the 22-yard line. What a block that was by the former McMaster product, Kojo Aidu.
Well, they really like Aidu. I mean, they really think this kid's going to be something special. They're grooming him to be a fullback. The former Heck Crichton winner. Big back. Powerful. 6 foot, 240 pounds, almost in the line of a Mike Sellers from Winnipeg, but he's just going to come into your screen. You can see just a nice block allowing Winston October to get to the outside. Once he gets to the outside, it becomes a foot race. Scott Cole finally dragging him down, but not before they get wonderful field position on the Hamilton 22-yard line.
45-yard punt, 37 on the return. That was Warren Muzica that got wiped out by Kojo Aidu. And now Michael Pringle stacked up inside the 20. Ball pops loose, The Ticats are on it, and now the whistle goes, and this is going to be Hamilton football. So something finally bounces the Ticat way, and let's wait and see. Jake Ireland tells Scott Coe it is Hamilton football.
Well, one of the things that happens, Chris, is when you're a back like Pringle, you don't want to give up on the first contact. You will always keep those legs driving. You can see he's frustrated right now. He tries to keep making something happen, but when you stay up, that allows the defenders to a chance to rip that ball loose, and that's what they do on this play. Let's see what they can do with it now.
Well, Mike Pringle's had a big first quarter, but on the final play of the opening 15 minutes, he's stripped of the football deep in Edmonton territory.
Just going to go left off tackle. You're going to see Johnny Scott, number 72, really working the football. As he's bringing him down, he's really trying to rake that football out. Does a good job of getting it out and creates a turnover for the Ticat offense. But he's saying when he walks off the field, okay, offense, I've given you a chance. Do something with the football.
Dietrich Mathis had the recovery, and look at the lopsided numbers.
It's awful, Chris. Never should there be zeros right there. When you don't have any first downs, you know that you're not doing anything on offense. That means your defense has been on the football field way too long. Yards rushing again, a problem, -2. 113 net yards. Here's that ugly zero again. Here's another one, but that's okay. We can live with that zero. Points off turnovers right for now, but they need to straighten it out on offense.
Well, Pete Gonzalez, as Ron Lancaster said yesterday, not many backups get 3 consecutive starts. Nothing encouraging yet. Troy Davis trying to pound forward and up across the 17-yard line. There has been no semblance of a running game in Hamilton so far this year.
Well, what I want to see is I want to see the offense or the guys in this team starting to get a little angry. I see nothing. I see passiveness. I see guys making a block, walking back, kind of crawling back to the huddle. What's the next play? You know what? That's how you practice if you've been drinking all night and you come in and hangover to practice. You know what? You're just not into it. You got to put a little into it, fellas. Come on.
And you've got some guys that that can get emotional out there, like the veteran Carl Coulter at center. Here's Gonzalez, a quick hitter, and he was belted by Randy Chevrier as he delivered the football, and that's another 2 and out.
Well, and I got to tell you, another indication to me is when a quarterback gets knocked down, Gonzalez is going to sit back here. He tries to throw. No, he gets hit by Randy Chevrier. What you don't see, the offensive line walks off the football field. Gonzalez is sitting on his backside. Nobody helps him up. You know, it's bad enough that somebody comes through and knocks you on your can. You know what? Walk over and pick up your man.
So he's 1 for 5, just 16 yards passing the football, and Paul Osbaldiston. Great kick. October backed up inside his 40, but maybe some room for the return. No, he swarmed at the 45, so that aspect of the game has been better for the Tiger Cats. A 53-yard punt.
That's a nice job of punt coverage right there and staying in your lanes. We talked about special teams being simple. You have one assignment, stay to the outside. Do not allow the returner to get to the outside. And on that play, they wrap him up with a limited gain. That's what you got to do.
Mike Pringle has talked about his timing with the offensive line of the Eskimos improving. 96 yards against Calgary, most of that late in the game.
But the big factor, 20 carries. The one victory, 20 carries. The 2 losses, he doesn't carry it over 12 times.
They start from just outside their 45. Hendricks, flush from the pocket, and Montford closed the door, and they bring him down back at the 35.
Good coverage by the Ticats secondary. Bart Hendricks initially the time to throw this football. He can't find anybody open. He sits back there, he dances, tries to buy himself some time, but the defensive line, good job of working. Keep working toward the quarterback. They flush him out. They flush him to the right, and there's Joe Montford. He's going to push him back to the middle. He pushes him back to the rest of his teammates, and they wrap him up for a sack.
Tim Cheatwood, his second quarterback sack of the season. The product of Ohio State, who was brought in last year to replace Montford when he went to the Toronto Argonauts. 2nd and 19. Hendricks under pressure, and he escapes and delivers downfield, incomplete, but a nice job by Hendricks to avoid back-to-back sacks.
Well, Cheatwood thought he had one right there. He had him wrapped up again. Another indication of the strength of Bart Hendricks to get out of trouble and at least try to make something happen. Granted, the pass was incomplete, but he avoided a sack. Just going to run to the right side. He's down, so right there, that shows you the indication. Vaughn downfield was waving his hands. He was wide open, but good pressure by the Ticats secondary and the front up there to limit him, not allowing him to set his feet to find Terry Vaughn downfield.
Tom Higgins talked about that yesterday, how they have gone from Montreal to Calgary, Winnipeg, and Hamilton, all 4 teams outstanding front fours. And that ball will bounce around and they'll get a no yards against the Eskimos. On the punt by Fleming, 42 yards. Not much to cheer about for the Ticat fans, at least on offense here in Hamilton. Well, the heat continues to escalate on Pete Gonzalez, who gets his 3rd straight start in the absence of Danny McManus. And some might wonder why Reggie Slack is not at the helm. But Ron Lancaster says that he's not the quarterback of the future. They want to see what Gonzalez can do.
I really think when you got a guy like, Reggie Slack, he's supposed to be the Band-Aid, the quick fix, maybe the long-term fix, you still got to get him in there.
Well, Gonzalez trying to provide a glimmer of hope, and there's another ineffective play.
I mean, this is a poor throw. It's behind the receiver, Archie Amerson. I mean, you have to make these short passes work. Last week he was pulled. He didn't feel like he should have been pulled. He said, you know what? My numbers aren't that bad. He was 7 for 12. But he was 51 yards. It's short passing. It's safe passing. You don't move the chains like that. You've got to stretch this defense. You've got to make the defensive secondary of the Eskimos, in this case, turn and run with the receivers.
Starting quarterback at Pitt 7 years ago. Now throws into the flat. Tyree Davis steps up close to the first down.
Well, a better throw on that time, getting Tyree Davis. Probably going to bring the stakes in and measure. Nice timing on that pattern. Tyree Davis breaking it off to the sideline.
Gonzalez was saying yesterday in his senior year at Pitt, he threw the ball over 400 times, only 6 interceptions. They played a ball control offense, and the one thing he has noticed in his short time here is that he was going to have to start stretching the field a little bit more, trying to go deep, trying to generate something.
Well, and the tough thing for a young quarterback, and you have to be fair to him in this case too, is, you know what, they think he can get things done. They think he can move the chains, but remember, he doesn't have the experience. He doesn't read the defenses that well yet. So, I mean, they tried to simplify the playbook. Break it down, give him one read. The problem with that, it may simplify it, but when you give a quarterback one read, that one read is taken away, he becomes confused, and then he starts going, okay, my first read's done. I don't have an option read now. What do I do with it? Then you force the situations.
3rd and inches, and so Gonzalez will just plow ahead behind Carl Coulter, Pascal Charon, and Mike Mihalik. That is the initial first down of the game for the Tiger Cats, and you can hear the fans at Ivor Wynn.
Well, good surge by that offensive line, getting off, allowing Pete Gonzalez to tuck in behind and pick up that first down. The biggest thing about putting some first downs together is, you know, with this humidity, you want to tire out the Eskimo defense. You got to keep them on the football field to do that.
And you want to spare your own defense, who have played a lot in this opening half. Here's Amerson, a lot of room. Archie Amerson to the 45, and he'll be stacked up there. But back-to-back first downs for the Cats.
Back-to-back first downs, a little emotion. A little emotion. Gonzalez sitting back there. Tyree Davis signaling a first down. I like the way Tyree Davis comes back and lays a block out to help Archie Amerson. That's what you want. You're a team. Think like you're a team. Now, here he comes. Now he's just going to come in here and watch that crack right there. That's what you got to do. That fires your team up.
Well, when Amerson first grabbed that, it looked like there was a lot more yardage ahead of him. Malcolm Frank limits the gain, and Steve Charbonneau is the latest member of that front 4 for Edmonton on the turf.
Now remember, they only brought 5 defensive linemen. The injury to Peyton and the Albert Reese home with the knee. So right now, we may see some of the linebackers starting to shift up to that end position on that defensive line.
So we'll take a timeout with the Eskimos leading by 10. Well, Steve Charbonneau on his feet, getting set to make his way to the Eskimo bench. Here's what happened.
Well, he comes around and he's going to get caught by his own man, Dorian Booth. And you'll just see, take a look right there. You can see right there, the knee catches on the back of Dorian Booth's shoulder pads. He hyperextends the knee a little bit. See him walking gingerly off the football field, and that's usually a good sign that he'll probably be back in his football game, but you never like to see that happen to anybody.
Second-year man Randy Chevrier rotates through that defensive line, and he'll take Charbonneau's spot. And here is Troy Davis down to the 40-yard line, close to 4.5 minutes into this second quarter, and the Hamilton offense now checking in for duty.
A little bit of a delayed draw. Just going to let him come up, punch him to the outside, get the lineman downfield, try to pick up an extra block. Only pick up 3 yards, but at least it's positive.
Well, there have to be concerns about the Eskimos' injury woes, although we are told Albert Reese should be back for their next game on July 16th. It'll be a rematch against the Tiger Cats. 2nd and 7. Gonzalez, and that pass dropped. Andrew English was open and couldn't bring it in.
Well, that's another example of a drive killer. Andrew English, you have to be tough coming across the middle. Nice job of protection. Sets up there, throws the ball. Number 87, you got to come up with a catch.
Well, some encouraging signs nonetheless. 6 plays on that drive. Their first 5 series provided just 9 plays. So Osbaldiston to attempt the field goal, 48 yards out, and Oz has it. Now remember, the Eskimos early did not try a field goal from 45. Osbaldiston kicks the 48-yarder, and the Tiger Cats are on the board.
Oh, and we talked about the philosophy is you got points to take, don't leave them on the field, take them. It makes it a 10-3 game, 1 touchdown from tying it. That's what you want to have.
And coming up at halftime, we'll join the guys at our halftime panel for their thoughts on what has transpired. There they are, our CBC playbook with Mr. Wolby, and the History of Excellence features one of the all-time greats from the Hamilton Tiger Cats, Grover Covington. And of course, Alfred Payton was in pursuit of Covington's sack record that has been now put on hold, and we want to wish Alfred well. I know a former teammate of yours, and you hate to see Alfred go down.
Just a great team guy, great locker room, really gets the team loose, very competitive, and as you say, was going after Grover Covington's sack record, and I believe would have had it this year. We'll have to wait another year to do it now.
Oz kicks it off, they fight the sun, and Corey Bailey drops the ball. Back inside the 10. Initial contact made downfield by Marcus Spencer, and it limits the return to a yard. And that's what Bailey was looking into, and now maybe the momentum for the first time in the game shifting slightly to Hamilton.
Well, it all starts, we talk about the spark from special teams. You get down there, you pin them deep. You put them in a hole, you get your defense out there, they do their job, and then your offense hopefully will start in better field position.
We talked about one of the many records Mike Pringle is in pursuit of. He's had a good first half, but now the fans urging the defense here in Hamilton. Pringle with the ball, another big hole, and Mike Pringle skips across the 30, and finally Montford again from his defensive end position, along with Kyle Walters, drags him down, but that's 20 more for Mike Pringle.
But he gets to the outside. I mean, everybody talks about the fact that he runs inside and tackles. Joe Montford just gets out. He's got some good speed, gets out there. Then he's going to cut back inside. Nice block downfield. That's the receivers doing their job down there. Joe Montford, who initially misses the tackle, good hustle to come all the way back to make that final takedown on Mike Pringle.
So Pringle out, Mills in, and some breathing room for the Eskimos offense. At the 34, Troy Mills, he'll try this side, and he is knocked out of bounds. Chris Schilling with the stop. One of the 2 veteran running backs.
Well, it's the same exact play they ran the play previous with Mike Pringle. I mean, they're going to give it to the other back, Troy Mills. a former 1,000-yard rusher with Edmonton back in '99. He knows how to get the job done as well.
Mills gets 4, so it's 2nd and 6. Five receivers out. A little look into Hervey is incomplete, and Chris Schelling was there to disrupt the play once again.
Well, disrupt might be a polite word, because I believe had Ed Hervey caught this football, he was going to pay the price, because Chris Schelling was lining him up, coming back into the inside. Fakes the blitz, he just drops back and he sees the play right off the back, going right to the outside. He can run a little slant pattern inside into the middle. That's where he's coming from, and number 30 takes him down with another violent tackle.
So 5 straight incompletions for Bart Hendricks and the Edmonton offense. Paulus Baldiston's bounced back after a subpar performance in Toronto, and he has had an edge on Sean Fleming so far.
Let go!
That's a good Fleming punt, and Larry Davis has it at his 23 with some room to bring it back before Roger Reinson makes the tackle. And now let's check in with Brenda Irving.
Well, Chris, Steve Charbonneau hyperextended his knee a little bit there, took a helmet on the left knee, and he is going to be back in the game. He is right now. He's on the field. He says he's feeling fine. That's the latest word.
Steve Charbonneau from Cowansville, the former Alouette in his 7th year. So let's see if Pete Gonzalez has something to build on after the last drive that produced the field goal. Hamilton starts at their own 40. And Gonzalez looks downfield. Couple of receivers in the same area, and there are flags as well. Larry Davis and Archie Amerson were side by side with a pair of Eskimo defenders, including Donnie Brady.
Well, Donnie Brady just ran him over. It was not even an attempt to try and deflect that ball or attempt to keep it out of the receiver's hands. He just steamrolled the receiver. And
forward pass interference. Edmonton number 26. First down.
Chris, I think that's a pretty easy call to make, and I'm just going to go to the left of your screen, and he's not playing the receiver at all or the ball. He's just going to run him right over. He knows he's beat. That's usually a case where the defensive back, in this case Brady, knows he's beaten, wants to do anything he can to prevent the touchdown.
Ticats do get a break. A couple of receivers in the same spot. Turns out to be a 25-yard gain via the penalty. Gonzalez a double pump. He's got Julian Radlin, the rookie fullback, who grew up cheering for this team, and there's Donnie Brady to make the quick hit on the young fullback.
Well, they want to get Radlin's hands on the ball as much as possible. He's another big back, the former first-round draft choice this year out of UBC. Big back as well. Little swing pass in the open field. Donnie Brady coming up, making the stick.
Radlin, a Waterloo product who went to UBC. Just a yard on that completion. And it's 2nd and 9, and Radlin the lone setback. In for blocking purposes, Mobley late getting there, and Aikens unable to grab the football as Gonzalez missed him by a stride.
Gonzalez looks to me like he may be getting a little bit more comfortable in that pocket, Chris. He's sitting back there right now, knows the blitz is coming. Aikens cuts it into the middle, does a nice job of getting behind the coverage, but a little too far, and results in an incompletion.
Just got it away before Singer Mobley made contact.
Well, Singer Mobley in there as well as Calvin Powell.
And now Osbaldiston on 3rd down will try and pin the Eskimos into the coffin corner. And let's see where they're marking that. They're going to mark it inside. Oh, wait a minute. I thought they were going to mark it inside the 5, and now they're going to walk it out to the, well, about the 6. So Osbaldiston does the job. 39-yard punt. Remember to check out the CFL on CBC Online, and if you have a question for your favorite CFL player, let us know. We'll ask them on your behalf, and post the answer to your question on our website. Ask a Player, only at cbc.ca/CFL. And we have a quarterbacking change for the Edmonton Eskimos as Bart Hendricks, 3 for 9, 42 yards, gives way to Ricky Ray, who we thought might start today, and then we were told that because of an injury, they wanted to sit him out. But he's pressed in as the momentum has shifted. Ray hit and almost caught that ball off the upright. Ball dead, and Joe Montford turning up the heat.
Well, the Hamilton defense has been coming off the line of scrimmage. They've been pinning their ears back, putting pressure. They did it previously to Hendricks. Ray's going to get some of the same treatment. Joe Montford working against Chris Morris. Gets around, beats him around the corner, forces that quick throw.
And might have tipped Ricky Ray's arm on the way. Remember, 4th game in 15 days. If the Ticats can stay in this thing, they may be playing against a worn-down Edmonton team. Fans making noise, 2nd and 10. Ray from his end zone, and he's got Terry Vaughn for a first down up at the 20.
Well, Terry Vaughn, who Greg Frere says is not the quickest guy in the world, just always finds an opening in the defense. Just sits down in the zone coverage. Everybody's doing a little drop, just waves his hands, finds the hole right between the defenders. Ricky Ray finds him. First down, they get a little breathing room.
Now, last year in Edmonton against Hamilton, he had an 11-catch day. A big first down catch to give them better field position. And now back to Pringle. And some heavy contact there. They haven't been able to stop Pringle in this first half, Chris, and I was surprised that they, for a couple series, seemed to get away from it.
You know what? But they were running a little bit more than we're used to seeing Pringle, right up the middle between the 2 guards and tackles. They took him to the outside, ran a little toss with Pringle. See, Joe's going to play that play, but he has to also, the reason he comes in late on that is that Joe Montford also has to keep his eye on the quarterback, Ricky Ray, who after he hands off will sprint outside.
Pringle already 80 yards on the ground. 2nd and 7. Here comes the rush. Ray just got it away. It'll fall incomplete, and Ricky Ray was punished. Chris Schilling.
Well, Hamilton always known for their aggressiveness on defense. They're here. They're not taking any prisoners. They're bringing Schilling. They're bringing Sean Woodson, both outside linebackers. There's one, there's the other. Little pressure, and once again the quarterback is on his back, or in this case his stomach, while attempting to throw that football.
So with 4:20 to go in this first half, Ticats should get the ball back in decent field position as Sean Fleming fights the sun.
Let go!
Straight punt to Davis at his 32-yard line. And Larry Davis high steps it to midfield and then loses his footing. That's the 2nd straight punt return where he's brought himself down.
But working together, the players or the punt return team who are not catching the football are finding a guy, picking up a block. This allows him to get to the outside. Good hustle, good smarts by Larry Davis, going down, realizing he hasn't been touched, to get up and pick up some additional yardage.
So after a first quarter totally dominated by Edmonton, the Ticats seem to be coming to life here. Pete Gonzalez starts 1st and 10 from the Edmonton 50. And he has an open receiver over the middle, Larry Davis with the catch. And the biggest completion of the night for the Tiger Cats.
Well, Larry Davis and Tyree Davis, the Davis co-namers, one running down, one coming back inside. Freezes A.J. Gass, the linebacker, number 77. Ball beautifully thrown by Gonzalez, just over his hands. Good field position for the Ticat offense.
You got Larry Davis, Tyree Davis, you got Troy Davis, and perhaps they'll look at bringing Anthony Davis out of retirement as part of this. Here's Gonzalez, a bootleg, and he slides down at the 13, met by A.J. Gass. But that should be another first down for Hamilton. They give the 3-minute warning to the teams here in the first half as the Tiger Cats start to come on here at Iberwin. Tiger Cats with all 5 first downs here in the second quarter, and they're threatening.
Well, he's only run the ball once before, but just a play action pass, and he's going to run around here. The whole defense is going to go with the action. See, Radling comes inside, the ends fly inside. That allows Gonzalez to get to the outside. You have to do this. You got an over-aggressive defense going after a rookie quarterback. You got to fool him sometimes.
Now you wonder how close he was from getting the hook, but now the Ticats threatening to tie this game, and a ball batted down at the line of scrimmage.
Well, Abdul will get the big paws up. He had 2 pass knockdowns last week in Winnipeg.
6'6", 250, and he has been a force in every game so far this season.
Well, he's had a sack in every game, but this is as good as a sack. It basically negates the play. You can't get to the quarterback. They always say the next best thing is get the hands up in the flight of the football.
So the ball at the 12. And as you can see, the offense is finally checked in for duty. Second down, ball into the end zone, but held up was Archie Amerson, and the flag flies late as Amerson was held up at the goal line.
Well, Cordell Taylor was working at double coverage, and Amerson, he was not allowed or released to go to get that football. Gonzalez tried to throw it to deep in the end zone. Now the question is, are they going to call this an uncatchable football because of the fact that Amerson really had no opportunity to catch it? It's a hard one to judge.
Jake Ireland in charge. And they're marching it down.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 16. First down.
Cordell Taylor called. The ball will be spotted at the 3.
That's a left ear screen. He's going to sit back here. He's going to try and throw it right in there. You can see he's grabbed by A.J. Gass and Cordell Taylor, who do not allow him to release to the back of the end zone. Gonzalez obviously happy with that call.
And Tom Higgins has to be concerned now. First and goal, Hamilton at the Edmonton 3-yard line. And Gonzalez, naked bootleg, A.J. Gass knocks him out at the 2.
Well, A.J. Gass was fooled on the last bootleg, but Gonzalez picked up a first down. Good speed by the man they call Forrest Gump, because he's got 2 braces. This is good hustle by 77. 2 years in a row, Chris, major surgery, reconstructive surgery. One on his left knee, one on his right knee. He's got 2 braces he has to play with them. They jokingly call him Forrest Gump. Well, run, Forrest, run, and he did on that play.
Led the Eskimos in tackles before the injury last year. Gonzalez trying to sneak, and the ball knocked out of his hand, but he broke the plane, and it is a Hamilton touchdown. Second effort, and now some shoving at the line as tempers flare, but Pete Gonzalez on his second surge got over the line.
Well, it only has to cross the line. They say once the football crosses the line, we'll take a look here.
Not there.
Second line, you can see right there, he goes across it. The ball comes out after that, therefore it is a touchdown. A lot of players don't like that, though, because they say, you know what happens, some players can reach out, a good tackle, if somebody strips the ball, they think it's a fumble, it's not. Well, you have to have a referee right there on the line of scrimmage. He's got to have great vision to make that call.
Malcolm Frank thought he was going the other way for a touchdown as Baldiston adds the extra point. And with 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half, the Cats have fought back to tie the score.
Now here's the line of scrimmage right there. You can see right now he goes across. Second effort now. Now here's the line. He has to break. You can see the football right there. Breaks the line of scrimmage.
So Pete Gonzalez picks it up. There are the stats on the drive. A couple of runs by Gonzalez to help set it up.
Well, the biggest thing about this that he's done differently is he's not sitting in the pocket. Chris, when he sits in a pocket, the whole defense knows where he's going to be. The fact that now he's taking the ball and scrambling, now you're putting that defense in a situation where they don't know if he's going to sit up there. It's not 100%. You've created some doubt on the defense. That's a nice job of Gonzalez. And as you say, He seems to be getting more comfortable. Obviously, we thought it was going to be a wash. 10-10 right now. They've come back.
Balderson gets set to kick it off. Corey Bailey, who fought the sun on the last kickoff, will give way, and it will be October. Winston October finds a seam, pulled down from behind by Sandy Beveridge. 25-yard return. The rookie from UBC with the tackle. So Danny Machocha and Ricky Ray have to stop the Ticat tide here and see what they can do to regain the lead.
Well, they owned the first quarter as Hamilton didn't have one first down. They basically had 0 yards offense in the first quarter. Have woken up in the second quarter, made a game of it, tying it up at 10-10. But the defense has got to take a lot of credit for that, staying in this football game and harassing whatever quarterback is in there, either Hendricks or Ricky Ray.
Well, this defense has played well even without Rob Hitchcock. Here is Ray delivering Terry Vaughn, and Vaughn down the sidelines. Kyle Walters pushes him out at the 24. Terry Vaughn's been the favorite receiver in the Edmonton offensive scheme.
Well, once again, they do a little switch up front by the defense. Schelling rushes, Cheatwood draws back. Now, Cheatwood has to pick him up. Now, you can see he's in a chase position. That's a defensive end that's being asked to cover Terry Vaughn. Chris Schelling can do it. Cheatwood, I'm afraid, is not going to win that battle many times.
So Vaughn's third catch of the game. And the Eskimos with a first down at the Hamilton 24. Ray looks wide side. There's Robinson, shakes one tackle and another. And Scott Robinson finally pushed out at the kicking net inside the Hamilton 10.
Well, Scott Robinson, wonderful job of using the arm bar and basically breaking the tackle of Brandon Hamilton and Stephen Fisher. Little swip right there, gets around there, little spin move. Nice hand to the face mask, stiff arm. Scores into the net.
Product of Maple Ridge, BC. And he gets starting duty with the injury to Ricky Walters. Another one of the players that went down in Winnipeg, but could be back for the next Edmonton game at Commonwealth on the 16th. Here is Pringle brought down. Short gain for Mike Pringle.
Chris Schelling coming from the outside, just racing down the line of scrimmage. Getting Pringle before he can get into the line of scrimmage.
Well, he really caught our eye, Chris Schelling, a couple of years ago when he had 8 quarterback sacks and all-Canadian status. And for a guy that's 5'11", 185, I'm not sure anybody hits harder in the league.
He definitely packs a wall. You know when you played against him.
Second and goal from the 7. Short drop, Ray, end zone, touchdown. And Brock Ralph has his first CFL major score.
Well, Ricky Ray made it look pretty easy. Sat back there, basically worked the offense all the way down the field. Little under route. Brock Ralph, recipient of it. Nice protection. Bringing the blitz, Woodson. Where Woodson left, the linebacker who blitzed Woodson where he left, Brock Ralph just went into that open spot. Ricky Ray found him, hit him with the football, and brought the rest by taking in for his first touchdown.
Well, they'll be cheering in Raymond, Alberta, where Brock hails from. Extra point added. His dad, Jim, was a coach, football, baseball, and basketball, a great athlete in all 3 sports. And
well, here he comes right here. That's Schelling, and they're bringing both linebackers on a blitz. As a result, there's an opening. You're putting your DBs in a real bind right there because Brock just sits in that opening, comes in, little rub pattern, bam, catches the football and takes it into the end zone. If you want to gamble blitzing the quarterback, you better get to him before he throws that football.
the injury to Ricky Ray doesn't look too serious. He's come off the bench and thrown for 79 yards. Eskimo fans celebrating here.
Well, I think they were hoping that Bart Hendricks was an opportunity to get him some playing time. They really like this guy. They think that he's going to be a gamer in years to come. An opportunity to rest Ricky Ray. That's their philosophy. They really take care of their players. And they say, you know, it's an 18-game season. We'll rest guys if we have to.
Well, they think Brock Ralph is a future star in the Edmonton scheme of things. This scoring drive started on the Winston October return. Of course, Terry Vaughn, the big play, 42 yards down the sidelines. And then a kid gets his first CFL scoring catch. There's Larry Davis. Brought down at the 35. 13 yards on the return. I mentioned Brock Ralph from Raymond, Alberta. That is the town that produced one of the great offensive linemen in the CFL, Lloyd Fairbanks, who helped Brock prepare for his first CFL season, what to expect in the big league.
And old Lloyd Fairbanks, a great player, played all those years. One thing he misses or regrets, he never had a chance to win a Grey Cup ring.
Great offensive lineman, particularly with the Calgary Stampeders. So 93 seconds for the Ticats to respond after the go-ahead touchdown, and the pass falls incomplete, intended for Trevor Shaw. That's the first time Gonzalez has called the number of Shaw this afternoon after a 6-catch game against the Argos.
Well, a little ahead of Trevor Shaw, but again, I thought the decision was right. It was a nice play by Gonzalez. Just going to sit back. Shaw's just going to break across your screen in the middle, and he sees it, just puts it a little too far in front of him. But right idea. If he gets it in there, it's a nice completion, and Hamilton will move the chains.
Second and 10, Tiger Cats, 3 receivers wide side. He looks backside, more contact, and another penalty. And this one's going against Cordell Taylor.
Well, he just tackles Arch Amerson again.
And Gonzalez is slow to get up.
We paid for that throw. He's down on one knee right now. And if he doesn't get up quickly, he'll have to leave, and Reggie Slack will have to come in for 3. But this kid from Pittsburgh's pretty
Pass
tough.
interference. Edmonton number 16. First down.
Well, Slack looked like he was ready, but Gonzalez will stay in. Let's find out what happened to him. Kelvin Powell right up the middle.
Well, head right underneath those rib protector pads.
So it is a first down at the Hamilton 46. Here's Davis. Davis trying to kick it outside and gets to the 50. Close to 5 when it looked like he might be stopped in the backfield.
That's a good job of Troy Davis bouncing it out not once but twice, seeing the penetration by the defense, making him miss, picking up 5 positive yards when he should have been tackled in the end zone, or behind the line of scrimmage, excuse me.
So 5 for Davis. Second and 5. Short drop, and that pass incomplete as Gonzalez looked for Akins. And the Cats will have to punt the ball away with just over a minute to go in the first half.
Well, Ozzie hopefully can get another punt, pin them deep, and hopefully the defense will do their job and the offense will get one more crack at it with a minute. Remember, they still have their timeout left.
Sixth punt of the half for Osbaldiston. October had a 65-yard return against Winnipeg. There's that dead ball bounce, and now October will try to sprint it outside. Over the 40-yard line, brought down at the 43. 50 seconds left on the clock as we join Brenda.
Well, Chris, the winds are gusting down here on the field, a little bit of a change from kickoff, and I was speaking with injured Ticat Rob Hitchcock, and he said that it's not creating too much of a problem for the punters or the field goal kickers, but it is for the quarterbacks. He believes that he's going to see Pete Gonzalez not throwing the ball as much as he has in the first half. If the winds continue to gust, that they will probably go to more of a passing game because of the wind conditions down here on the field right now.
Well, the problem so far for the Tiger Cats is an inability to really establish the running game in the first 3 games of the year. There's a pass in the flat to Ed Hervey, who has a catch at the 49. And 7 yards for the speedy Eskimo wideout.
Yeah, you're correct, Chris. For Hamilton, only 25 yards rushed by Troy Davis last week, 5 the week before. Not acceptable. You really have to have the running game. It offsets, sets up the pass, it offsets the defense, it confuses them. At least it makes them think that you could do either of.
Ricky Ray making a fine recovery from that injury. Joe Montford riding the back of Pringle and bringing him down short of the first down.
Well, defense does its job. Joe Montford coming inside, as you say, grabbing Mike Pringle, bringing him down short of the first down.
3rd and a yard, yard and a half, and Tom Higgins is surveying this. They're going to run the clock. And take a time count violation. Well, one would surmise then they will send Sean Fleming out to punt.
It's a smart move, really. Eats up some clock. They'll have to punt the ball anyway.
No point giving Hamilton any chance to turn it over on downs and get the ball in Edmonton position, or Edmonton side of the field with time on the clock.
Well, now you punt the ball. There's only 11 seconds left on the clock rather than 31. So I think it's a smart decision by Coach Tom Higgins.
Well, it was all Edmonton in the first quarter, and it started disastrously with the Troy Davis fumble on the first play from scrimmage for the Tiger Cats, but it looks like we've got a football game at 17-10.
Well, the defense has been outstanding in the first half for Hamilton. I really think the offense got a couple series going. They seem to get some momentum. Really have to build on that momentum now. Gonzalez has to come out in the second half and start strong. He can't wait to the fourth quarter.
Let him go, let him go!
Fleming's punt, not deep. Skipped by Davis. And he'll be tossed down back at the 15-yard line. No time left on the clock. Final play of the first half. With the Eskimos up by a touchdown, let's join Brendan.
Well, Tom, why the decision first to start Bart and then replace him with Ricky?
Ricky Ray was banged up from playing in Winnipeg.
Why the decision, though, to bring him in after Bart had started?
Because we still felt that he still has game, he can play. We wanted to let Bart, we like our 2-quarterback system, and it works well for us.
Hamilton's offense seemed to get some life near the end of that half. How do you stop them in the second half?
Execute. You can't keep people down all the time, so what you have to do is just make sure you take care of yourself. We got to make sure we cover. Don't give any first downs in by penalties, and we just take care of business, and we'll be in good shape.
Good luck in the second.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Brian.
Thank you, Brenda. Some quick thoughts on that first half. Let's begin with Sean Millington.
Well, hey, I called it when we started off the game. I said, Mike Pringle, impact player. Here he is making an impact. 81 yards.
Greg?
I'm saying emotion is huge in this game. You can almost feel the swing. They came out flat. It's a big game for Hamilton. Came out flat. All of a sudden they got some momentum, got a touchdown. It's like they're celebrating alone out there when they make a big play.
How about that Hamilton D?
Defense kept them in the football game in the first quarter when they were doing nothing offensively. Chris Schelling, as Walby touched on, is playing great.
All right, stay with us. Still to come, we have our halftime show. We'll have the playbook with Chris Walby. We'll talk about Edmonton's 2 quarterbacks, and we'll have analysis and highlights. You're watching the CFL on CBC.
CBC Playbook with Chris Walby.
Short yardage offense. A lot of plays you can run. But when you need 1 yard or less, you better get the quarterback sneak involved, because this is a play you should never be stopped on when you only need that much yardage. Basically, you got your 2 big tight ends. We are all blocking inside. He's the lead block. That's a center. Everybody's blocking inside. The 2 backs release. That's to occupy the 2 outside linebackers. He tucks in behind here, and then it becomes a battle. Who wants it more? These 3 against these 3, trying to stop the quarterback. It's a huge battle where a lot of the wars are won, right in the middle of the pit.
What if the middle's all clogged up?
Well, that's really an important thing to know. The quarterback right now is trying to wedge behind the center and his two guards, but sometimes, as you say, the Mac will get up there and stuff it. A good quarterback will keep his legs driving and either move to the right or to the left to find the soft spot in the defense to score. Short yardage, a game of toughness and desire. The difference between winning and losing often comes down to the team that wants it more. The offense needs to stay low and explode off the line of scrimmage. The quarterback also has to be smart enough to stay low behind his blockers and find a soft spot in the defense. If he goes over the top, the linebackers are waiting to destroy him. Hey, football's a tough sport, and sometimes there's nothing tougher than picking up that 1 yard needed to score the touchdown. You know, your short yardage offense is a crucial part of your team's success.
The CFL, a history of excellence.
The CFL's all-time sack leader, Grover Covington.
There's a lot of guys you don't want to leave unblocked. Grover Covington's one of them.
Holloway does not get a chance to throw. He's buried. Grover Covington. And Grover Covington cranks it up. He is one of the outstanding defensive ends in the league.
Halftime, the Eskimos lead by a converted touchdown. We're back live at Iverwind Stadium in Hamilton with Sean Millington, Greg Frères, Darren Flutie. Good evening. I'm Brian Williams. You're watching the CFL on CBC. Prior to this game, I won't tell you what Darren Flutie said, but Sean Millington said Pringle ought to be used more. Millington, you can begin, and we'll give Flutie a chance to rebuff you.
Come on here. Call me biased as an ex-running back, but I got to say, I like what Pringle is doing here. Unlike the Chips, he's not breaking up. He's hitting people. He's making plays, scoring touchdowns. This is what Mike Pringle does best. I mean, look at this run. He's breaking tackles, hitting people. I mean, that's what the game's all about. I mean, look at that. Come on.
With the O-line opening up holes like that, Brian Williams could have rushed for 82 yards. I'm telling you.
Oh, jeez.
Pringle, what was his total? 82 yards.
82 yards in the first half. Come on.
All right, Darren. Let's talk about your old team. No emotion except from the defensive side of the football early.
Yeah, like we said, they kept them in the football game in the first quarter, but they were very flat offensively. Didn't show much, but defensively, wow. I mean, Chris Schelling making a hit here on Mike Pringle, stood him up. And now Woodson gets some pressure on the quarterback, and Hamilton makes a nice play to break up the ball. I mean, defense kept them in this football game.
Great.
Well, and the thing I was talking about earlier is about emotion, is that, you know, the defense is, some players are playing with a lot of emotion. Schelling, Hamilton, Mumford, these guys are coming out making plays, but it's like they're celebrating by themselves. The team's got to come around, rally around that. It's contagious. That's what's going to be able to allow them to win this game.
Are the players on the field aware of the fact that this franchise is in big trouble off the field? The league is concerned. They can't have a team put up another stinker. I mean, there's not a big crowd here tonight. They continue playing like they are, and they may have 5,000 people here. Are the players aware of that?
Well, you know what? They came out flat. This is a huge game for Hamilton, and you know what? The Hamilton people here want to get excited about their football team, but you know what? They got to the players got to give them something, and so come out in the second half, give them something to cheer about.
And I'd like to weigh in on this. When the quarterback goes down, you want to see your O-line getting around, picking him up, because it's most of the time it's their fault that he's on the ground. They need to be a little bit more enthusiastic here.
Do you think Edmonton's tiring, the 4 games in 15 days?
I think we saw a little bit of that in the second quarter. You see some injuries, you know, some guys going down, staying on the turf a long time, and you know, taking their time to get up. So I think it's had an effect on them, and Hamilton's comeback was maybe partly due to that.
Most teams can't find a good backup. Where do the Edmonton Eskimos, 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D, as Higgins told us a couple of weeks ago, where do they come up with these quarterbacks, Sean?
Well, it's amazing. Now we have Ricky Ray coming off the bench, leading a strike, getting more points on the board. Why isn't Hamilton's backup coming off the bench and scoring touchdowns? I mean, that's the big question for them.
I'll give some credit to the Edmonton Eskimos management. By the way, if I get this mug here, this is from the Bishop Grandin High School Marching Ghosts. We've all got one. We're using it to drink Diet Coke, I will tell you, though, here tonight. They performed on Parliament Hill on Canada Day. There they are. They're performing here tonight. And the tour coordinator, Gord Simonin, wanted to tell the families in Edmonton they're having a great time enjoying their Eastern tour. Second half coming right up live from Iverwind.
17-10 as we get to set to start the second half here at Iverwin Stadium. But before we have kickoff, let's join Brenda.
Well, Ron, the offense really came to light late in that first half. What does that do for the confidence of Pete and the offense?
Well, I'm glad it came to life, but you got to get it going a little bit earlier. But we're only down 7 with 30 minutes to play. That's not bad. We'll be all right. Just got to take the ball, let's move it, and put it in the end zone.
What about your defense? I mean, when the offense was floundering there early, it really kept you guys in it.
Yeah, they did a good job early, and then we let them off the hook late. But sooner or later, we'll just put this thing together, get some good returns, and play football for 30 minutes, see what happens.
Good luck the rest of the way.
There's Scott Coe, the young middle linebacker. We'll try and dig in against Mike Pringle in this second half. It was an inspired Hamilton defense that held them in the game when it had blowout written all over it in the first quarter. And this might be a winnable game for the Tiger Cats, considering the heavy schedule that these Eskimos have been under.
Well, the biggest thing that happened right there is they had played so well in the first half, the defense did on Hamilton, and then allowed Edmonton, Ricky Ray, to march down the field at the end of the game, or end of the half, score a touchdown. They've got to make the necessary adjustments. That's what halftime's all about. They come out and fire it up.
High short kickoff. Larry Davis has it. Up across the 35, unable to get it outside, and falls forward to the 40-yard line. Let's check the numbers through 30 minutes.
Well, first downs evening out 13-8. Remember, after the first quarter, Edmonton had 8, Hamilton had 0. So Hamilton really picked it up in the second quarter. Yards rushing still a major concern for Hamilton with 21. You've got to do better. 105 rushing yards for Edmonton. Mike Pringle with 82 already. Net yards 220-81. Time of possession heavily in favor of the Eskimos, but as long as that defense or the Ticats keeps playing, putting pressure on, creating turnovers, there's always that opportunity for that offense or the Ticats to do something.
Well, he may not be the quarterback of the future, but he is for the present, and in this second half, Reggie Slack is in.
Here's a guy that took Saskatchewan to the Grey Cup. I mean, he has done that. He's won big games. He's got a lot of experience, and I think, I don't care if he's a short-term, a Band-Aid solution. I think you use a guy like that.
Steve Alexander was shaken up on the opening kickoff of the second half, a second-year man out of the University of Ottawa. And now it's Reggie Slack's turn to get this offense ignited. Starting at the Hamilton 39, a flag down as Mobley and Abdullah stopped Davis in the backfield, but the Eskimos looked like they jumped early.
Well, Mobley's definitely getting the call. He entered that 1 yard line. Little zone you can't touch until the ball is snapped. That's another thing a veteran quarterback can do, is change the cadence, try and pull the defense.
Offside. Edmonton number 27, repeat first down.
Get them to jump.
We mentioned the Eskimos in the opening quarter as we take a look at Mobley, showing blitz and encroaching. The Eskimos did get a major in the first quarter. The Hamilton Tiger Cats have just 8 second half points this season. Here's Davis, and no hole opening up for the Tiger Cat running back. Falls forward maybe a yard. It'll be 2nd and 4.
Well, you take a look at the struggles at quarterback this season. Gonzalez with 273 yards, 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. Here's the stat. Look at this. 1 touchdown, and who's it by? Your 3rd string quarterback, David Corley. And that again was late last week in Toronto with, I think, about 56 seconds left.
Those 3 trying to replace Danny McManus, who may be ready for the Ticats' next game in Calgary. 2nd and 4, and the wide side throw, and Fabian Burke all over Archie Amerson. The catch made, but no gain on the play.
Well, that's what you call hanging your receiver out to dry. Put him on the clothesline and let the players come and take a shot at him. He just read the quarterback's eyes all the way, just sits back there, throws, and he's on a dead run. Fabian Burke plants the helmet right on Archie Amerson's number.
So as Baldiston on to punt it away on 3rd down. Another good boot. October back at his 12. And the coverage better. Warren Muzica leading the charge, the Saskatoon native. Another 48-yard boot by Oz. Ricky Ray in relief tonight. Bart Hendricks started. Ray had a hot hand when he came in.
Well, he likes to do something, but here's an interesting stat. If you look at right here, that's 20 yards and in. That's what he's throwing right now. Of course, 42 yards by Vaughn. Vaughn caught the pass short underneath and took it 42 yards. But Terry Ray staying with everything, or Ricky Ray, everything that works underneath.
And the Eskimos go to work with Mike Pringle trying the right side. Chris Schelling there again. And Schelling has stepped up to handle the rushing game of Mike Pringle.
The two outside linebackers of Hamilton are studs. Sean Woodson and Chris Schelling. Schelling is an impact player. He plays the run as well as any lineman or linebacker in the league. He's not scared to put his helmet anywhere, and he does a nice job of when he makes contact, 99% of the time, the person who's carrying the ball is going down.
Pringle lost a couple. 2nd and 12 from the 20. Ray with time, and that ball tipped and caught. Ed Hervey with the catch at the 30. He'll be short of the first down.
Well, sometimes you've got to be lucky to be good, and that's exactly what happened. Chris Schelling made the play earlier, gets a hand on this ball, deflects it up. Ed Hervey, recipient of a lucky tip drill. Good concentration by Ed Hervey to find the football after it was deflected, come up with the catch.
Saw Frank Catolo with a tipped touchdown catch last night.
From Orlando Steinhauer, who thought he should have had interception in the end zone.
BC with their first win in overtime against Toronto. That was a thriller. The other was a beauty at Taylor Field, as Montreal erased a 19-point disadvantage and then held on the missed Paul McCallum field goal. Breaking the hearts of Taylor Field fans. Flags down as Fleming kicks it away. Larry Davis takes it at his own 50 and gets across midfield, still going! And Davis, one man, and Fleming knocks him out. But again, a couple of flags. In fact, 3 pieces of cloth on the Astro Play turf.
And the first flag throw was on the line of scrimmage before the ball was punted.
Procedure, Edmonton, no end, decline, first down.
Well, the line judge seeing that right there. Nobody on the line of scrimmage at the end. You have to have 7 men on the line of scrimmage. They only had 6. As a result, the flag comes down.
Well, a terrific return by Davis, but at this point it looked like he'd score. Sean Fleming had other plans.
Good job of lowering the boom on him, Sean Fleming.
That was a touchdown saver. No one else had a shot at Davis. And he goes 26 yards. Reggie Slack and company, first down at the Edmonton 34. 4 receivers right side. They swing it out. Tyree Davis working against Cordell Taylor, and Davis skips out past the first down stick.
Well, Tyree Davis with outstanding speed in the open field. 5 catches for only 12 yards last week against Toronto. They tried a lot of this last week. The cornerbacks of the Argonauts would have nothing of it, limiting him to 12 yards. Come right back to it again today. Little stutter step that freezes the defender's feet. That allows him to get outside of him to turn it up and pick up a first down.
3 times 800 yards or more receiving as a Montreal Alouette. Last year, bounced between Toronto and Calgary, and just 15 catches for Tyree Davis. It's a first down, Hamilton. Slack with good protection. And now has to run around. Delivers down near the goal line, picked off. First interception of the year for the Eskimos. There is a flag down. Shannon Garrett reeled it in. Let's see if it'll stand.
Well, Reggie Slack forced the situation. Gets outside, there's nothing there. He forces to throw, it's picked off. But a flag was thrown in the secondary. And that's what they're going to discuss right now. It'll probably be against the Edmonton secondary for illegal contact.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Edmonton number 16. First down.
Well, Cordell Taylor, I believe that's his 3rd flag this afternoon. Chris, quite familiar with the referees.
The secondary's been called for 3 pass interference infractions. Slack gets a reprieve. There is Cordell Taylor. Last year in Carolina with the Panthers, he played 12 games with the Eskimos 2 seasons ago. And it's a first down, Hamilton at the Edmonton 13. Give to Davis, not a smooth transaction. Davis gets a yard or 2 on the play.
Well, very lucky. A lot of times when you have that missed handoff, it ends up on the ground and can result in a fumble or a turnover. Not a smooth running play. Almost puts the ball in Radlin's hands. Troy Davis has to pick it up late. Andrew English, stay awake every play. If you're not in it, even if you're away from the ball, you should be blocking, not getting blocked like that. That'll wake him up.
Daryl Crutchfield lowering the boom, 2nd and 8 for Hamilton. And looking into the end zone, Emerson, touchdown! Archie Emerson has the Tiger Cats' first touchdown catch of the year.
Well, Archie Emerson's just going to curl it around, take it back into the end zone. Again, working against Cordell Taylor, who's really having a rough go of it today, trying to cover the elusive Archie Emerson. He's taken about 3 pass interferences today, and on this play, Archie just burns him deep in the end zone.
Extra point added. Archie's first touchdown catch of the year, and the Tiger Cats are back on even terms here in the 3rd quarter at Ivor Wynn. Well, a few of those pass interference calls called because of Archie Emerson. He has been a handful.
Well, you know, he's given Cordell Taylor all kinds of trouble. I mean, we take a look at this replay. It all starts up front with the pass protection. You got to have time, and he's just going to slant into the middle of your screen. He gets a step, and he curls it into the inside, working against Cordell Taylor.
So 17 apiece. And that ball skipped by Corey Bailey. Winston October is going to scoop it back up at the 9, but he finds a crease, gets a block, and returns it across the 30-yard line. 22 on the return for October.
Well, Archie Emerson working. He's right here. This is the guy right here. And what he's going to do is just going to give a little waggle pass and take it inside right there. Gets to the inside. You see, freezes the feet, gets inside of Cordell Taylor. Nice throw by Reggie Slack. Nice catch by Archie Emerson, and a touchdown to tie this football game.
Hey, Merman, I think we should call all the.
So it was quick with Reggie
Slack
Slack
just Roger
at
Louis,
the
no numbers,
controls.
just in the huddle, ice, check with me, and just Roger Louis, so we can give ourselves a chance. Because if we come out just hardly call it.
And Scott Coe shaken up on the kickoff as we see how the Tiger Cats engineered that march to tie the game.
Well, starts off with a good kickoff return. Nice job of perseverance and toughness shown by Larry Davis, who refuses to be brought down until Sean Fleming hits him. Troy Davis handling a bad handoff, making a positive out of it, and it ends with Archie Emerson getting to the inside of Cordell Taylor with a touchdown.
4th catch for Emerson, 48 yards and a touchdown, and Scott Coe looks like he suffered a hamstring injury as he makes his way to the bench.
Well, they really like him. He's a kid with a lot of big future, big upside on that University of Manitoba product.
Well, Ricky Ray's back in to try and answer. He answered quickly the last time the Cats tied it. Under pressure here, and Ray nailed Stephen Fisher with the tackle. And Ray doesn't want to absorb too many of those.
Stephen Fisher up, taking the legs out of the quarterback, Ricky Ray. Ray, who runs, can't find anything downfield. It's a good job of the tackles, pushing the rush ends. In this case, Joe Monfort And Cheatwood to the outside. That creates an opening. That allows Ricky Ray the opportunity to take off with that football.
Ray got 4, 2nd and 6. Marcus Spencer has checked in at middle linebacker for Scott Coe. And Ray had to pull it down, and down he goes. Cheatwood and Montford with the double team sack.
The difference from this play to the previous play, Chris, is Johnny Scott is in the middle and he's getting penetration. If you get penetration up the middle, the quarterback has nowhere to go. He can't step up in the pocket. That allows your two ends, Cheatwood and Montford, to close on the quarterback.
Cheatwood, the man brought in last year to replace Joe Montford. And when asked, how are you going to fill Joe Montford's shoes, he said, I brought my own shoes.
Well, he was taken aback in training camp when he found out that Montford was coming back and he wouldn't be playing rush in. A little bit of an attitude adjustment to play that backside, but doing a nice job on it.
There's Larry Davis on the return. Up to the 40-yard line, a 50-yard Sean Fleming punt. And there is Tim Cheatwood. 5 quarterback sacks last year.
Out of Ohio State.
And he brings it.
He's got some good speed, and I tell you what, if you got a guy on one side named Joe Montford, you want a guy on the other side that can bring it just as well.
And Montford has worked closely with him and Lamont Bryant, who also sees action at that end position. We're told that Pete Gonzalez suffered a cracked rib late in that first half, and that's one of the reasons Reggie Slack's in. There's Amerson, and this one through his fingertips, incomplete.
Well, and you know what, even though he's a veteran, Reggie Slack, he did a nice job in the last drive to get Hamilton that touchdown. It is really tough for a quarterback to come in cold. He may be watching the game from the sidelines, but when you come in under fire, it's a whole different game. Amerson's just going to drag underneath the linebacker. One of the things, if you want that play to work, you're going to have to run a little play action. That would pull Powell, the middle linebacker, up, allowing Archie to get behind him.
So 2nd and 10, here comes the rush. Slack gets it away, and a mix-up there. Davis and Malcolm Frank were tied up well away from the ball, and that impeded Davis's route to the football.
Well, Tyree Davis looking to try and draw the flag from the referee. Got tangled up with Malcolm Frank, couldn't continue his route downfield, and the ball sails harmlessly over his head.
And there is Pete Gonzalez, his night done.
Well, you can actually see he's pointing to where it was. We actually talked about that hit he took where the helmet was underneath the rib protector.
You know,
that's a throwing arm, remember, as well.
Similar to, I think, what happened to Nealon Green last night, as he was forced out of the game with Montreal. Here's October, strung out, and again, punt coverage vastly improved for the Tiger Cats in this game.
Well, Jared Smith, nice job of coming all the way around from the opposite side of the field to track down the returner. Take a look at Paul Balson after he kicks his football. You can see him grabbing his quad, limping gingerly. There had been a rumor that he's not 100%, and that may verify that rumor right there, Chris.
Yes, there had been whispers that Oz hasn't been right since the first week of the season.
And you know what? Give the guy credit. He's averaging 35 yards a punt, well below his average or his career. Hasn't complained. Take it like a man.
Longest serving Ticat ever, Ricky Ray in relief. And Mike Pringle with a head of steam up to the 44. 5 to 6 yards for Pringle as he approaches 100 on the night.
Well, I think I'd be running right at the middle with Scott Coe out of the lineup right now and Marcus Spencer, the rookie, in at middle linebacker position. You see Scott Coe getting some attention on the bench. You got a rookie middle linebacker in there. Boy, I tell you, get the big offensive line right after him.
Kid from Alabama checks in. 2nd and 4. And 6 receivers out. Ray Robinson dropped the football. It'll be 3rd down.
Well, Lamont Bryant, as a defensive end, you're taught if an offensive lineman tries to cut you, use your hands. Push the helmet down. Don't allow him to cut you. right at the top of your screen. So he plays that hand. That's an excellent job of the defensive end, Lamont Bryant, to beat the attempted cut block by Chris Morris, which forced that pass a lot quicker than they wanted to get off.
He can also play inside on that front four for Hamilton. Had a sack in each game against Edmonton last year. Now Sean Fleming with 5:55 to go, third quarter. Punts the football away. Not as deep. Davis at his 35 on the run and drilled back.
Well, drilled back, Chris, but I mean, doing a nice job of coming up and catching that ball in the air, not allowing that ball to bounce.
Well, the former McMaster star, Kojo Aidu, wants to get noticed here at Iberwin, and he did on that good punt coverage. And we will be at Molson Stadium next week. It's the home opener for Montreal in the refurbished old McGill Stadium against Dave Dickinson and the BC Lions, who posted their first win last night.
I hear they've done some refurbishing to the press box. Really kind of nice to work in that area, eh?
New turf. They're quickly trying to get all the finishing touches in on the new look of the stadium. Reggie Slack under pressure and thrown down. The Boos is loose as Dorian Boos comes up with a sack.
Well, third sack of the year for Dorian Boos, just working against the inside, just keeps going toward the quarterback, keeps his legs moving, beats the block. He's just right in there, number 91. Nice arm over, keeps moving, doesn't allow Reggie Slack any time to set his feet. The result is his third sack of the season.
Huge game in the defensive battle against Winnipeg.
Well, you talk a lot about the quarterback sacks allowed. 7 the record in 1999. But I tell you what, Danny McManus is a huge reason for those low numbers. One of the quickest release by a quarterback. They say he holds the ball for probably around 2 seconds, Chris. I don't care how fast you are as a defensive lineman or linebacker, you're not going to get to him.
Mike Mihalik jumping early, so a procedure call against Hamilton.
Procedure, Hamilton number 66, still second down.
And we were talking about Danny McManus yesterday, and Ron Lancaster had to think a while about a guy who delivers the football as fast as McManus, and he came up with another one of your former quarterbacks.
Well, Tom Clements, and we have a great opportunity to play with him. He led us to the Grey Cup in '84. But Danny Mack was one of my teammates for a number of years as well, and great quarterback. And I heard rumors, you know, he's had a tough year. People are washing him down the road saying he's finished. I tell you what, watch out for Danny McManus. Watch him throw the ball. You saw he was picking people apart yesterday. This guy can get it done.
Great defensive series for the Eskimos. A.J. Gass with that last tackle on Troy Davis.
Just a natural instinct for the football. Not worrying about who might be trying to block him. Just helmet to the ball carrier.
And that forces 3rd and 27. And will Osbaldiston be able to continue the punt average of 41.1 that he has amassed tonight, with a leg problem apparent on the last punt. Pascal Charon, the left guard, has been shaken up. On this hot, sticky night in Hamilton. We're going to take a break. 4:18 to go, third quarter, all tied up at Iberwin.
Welcome back to Hamilton, where this game is tied at 17 apiece. An update on injured Ticat Scott Coe. I asked him if he's going to return to the game. Shrugged his shoulders, says he's not sure. It looks like it's a pulled left hamstring. He's got a tensor bandage on the left thigh and sitting there on the bench.
That's tough news for Scott, who was pumped up about this game and his responsibilities this year that have increased here in Hamilton. Winston October punt return to the 46, so the Eskimos starting to win the battle of field position here. And they have the football in Hamilton territory. And let's join Brenda.
Well, the Ticats are not only missing Danny McManus, also Rob Hitchcock. Update us on the injury.
It's day by day right now. It's coming along great. The surgeon and the doctor said everything's going well. I've got probably 5 to 6 weeks to go. My due date's August 22nd is my 10th game, which I can come back on. So I'm real anxious to get back. This is real tough watching this.
What do you think about the change of this game? It started off slow for your club and now tied.
Yeah, we've got all phases seem to be clicking right now. You know, we've got a quarterback change with Reggie in there right now. He's just got to get into his mode like he can and play some good ball. So we're ready to go.
Were you surprised at Pete Gonzalez and the problem with the injury, meaning that Reggie came into this game?
Yeah, I think he just got hit, and I'm not quite sure what the injury is right now, but you know, he's a fighter, and we'll have to see what happens to him in the next. I think we almost.
Hope to see you back in the lineup.
Thank you very much.
Rob Hitchcock, a ball hawk at safety for the Tiger Cats, not in the lineup. A broken forearm in the preseason, but it is coming along so well that. Unfortunately, he's got to sit out the 9. He's on the 9-game disabled list. He might have been ready to come back a little earlier.
Well, Kyle Walters has done an admirable job filling in for him, but it's not the presence that Rob Hitchcock is in the middle. And the big thing that Rob Hitchcock gives you is fear. Receivers coming across the middle because he is one of the hardest hitters from that safety position.
Yes, Rob Hitchcock's had some memorable duels with Mike Pringle. It's 2nd and 10, and Ricky Ray airing it out, looking for Hervey, and Hervey brings it in. Good physical play by Ed Hervey.
Well, double coverage, Woodson and Brandon Hamilton, and I tell you what, I think that they thought the ball was going to be out of bounds. They kind of let off. They kind of stopped, lost concentration of the ball. Ed Hervey followed this ball all the way. They think it's going to be, you see slow down. You see 31 is just, he slows down in the coverage. He doesn't even try to keep going. The only one that keeps his eye on the ball and the momentum going is the receiver. The result is a huge play.
Gave Woodson a little shoulder, though, to create some separation, and he won the battle for the football. And it's a 34-yard gain. First down, Eskimos. Mike Pringle through the arms of one tackler, and then Woodson drills him down at the 7. 4 more for Mike Pringle.
Mike Pringle spins out of the arms of the tackler, Cheatwood, who tries to nail him in the backfield. Picks up 3 yards.
Pringle 95, 96 yards. 96 we have him at. So he's that close to the 66th 100-yard game of his career, which would tie the record held by George Reed. 2nd and 7. Ray with time, looks in the end zone, and that ball caught for a touchdown. Corey Bailey with his first CFL touchdown catch.
This is just a matter, Chris, of who wants the ball more. I know it sounds like a simple explanation, but that's what it all really comes down to right now. Again, 2 defenders there, but Corey Bailey just refuses to have that ball go anywhere but into his hands. Good protection up front. Allows Ricky Ray to set his feet. Nice throw to the corner. Look, double coverage, but look at that. Great concentration.
Well, when you replace Jason Tucker in the lineup, you're expected to make a circus catch or 2 because you know the other guy does.
And once again, it's an example of the depth of the players they have in the practice roster in this Edmonton organization. They lose a player, they find a player that can come in and fill.
It really is the strength of their team, that deep receiving fleet.
Nice throwing lane, opened up by the offensive line. A little bit of an arc throw. Comes down, and Corey Bailey, who does not lose sight of the football, watches it all the way as it sails into his hands for a touchdown. First touchdown for Corey Bailey.
Over Stephen Fisher with 2:07 remaining in this third quarter.
And we just talked about Rob Hitchcock, the safety. You see Kyle Walters on the trail there. The safety came over to give help. I guarantee you, when you got a safety like Rob Hitchcock, you know what? That receiver will take a quick peek at where number 42 will be coming from. And that's no knock on number 7. Just a different type of football player.
No, they say they're almost opposites in the style of play at safety.
One's a little quicker. Like Kyle Walters is probably quicker. But I think sometimes, I know we used to have a guy named Benny Thompson who knocked a few receivers out in this league. Went down to the NFL, played a number of years. I mean, receivers would tell you they were just terrified to go across the middle thinking he would hit them.
Fleming kicks it off. Second time the Ticats have fought back to tie, and then immediately the Eskimos answer. Here's a good return, and it is Stephen Fisher, the man victimized on the touchdown, with a 28-yard run back.
Well, something bad happens, do something good. That's exactly what Stephen Fisher does. With a nice return.
Now Ed Hervey was well covered. He found some room, and then Bailey with the catch.
But two great catches by two receivers who wanted the ball more, both in double coverage. I mean, if it's one-on-one and you get the catch, that's one thing.
Big Reese.
The Eskimos were offside on the kickoff. The Tiger Cats will scrimmage at their own 45. Four receivers right side. Davis up the middle. His best run of the game to midfield. And a first down. Singer Mobley stopped Davis from doing more damage.
Well, Troy Davis has to touch the football more. I think that may be his 7th carry of the afternoon. Here's a guy that last year in 14 games rushed for over 1,000 yards. That's his 8th carry for 20 yards. You have to let the back find some rhythm as well. He has to get himself a flow. He has to feel himself in this football game. With 8 carries, you really can't do that.
First down midfield, Hamilton, Davis again. And Troy Davis into the backfield. Down to the 35, 15 more.
15 more. The offensive line does a really good job of coming off the ball. Davis does the rest. Quick feet. He's got little scampering feet. Breaks tackles, gets in the open.
And I shortchanged him. That's 20, and that's the longest run of the year for the Tiger Cats.
Well, 19 was the previous long run, and that was by their third-string quarterback.
David Corley Jr. in the mop-up role in Toronto.
But let him get some confidence. Troy Davis is a good running back. Here's a guy that in college, in 2 years, ran for over 2,000 yards.
First down and Slack throws it out of bounds at the Hamilton bench. Malcolm Frank was in coverage.
But the cornerbacks of Edmonton are cheating. One of the things that Hamilton's not doing is they're not running anything what we like to call a wheel route. That is, go to the sidelines, because what happens is the cornerbacks are jumping on that route. If that receiver turns it instead of going to the sideline and turns it upfield now he's going like this. Now if he turns it up and goes like that and runs a wheel route, Malcolm Frank is going to get caught. That's something to look at.
2nd and 10. Slack connected on his first 3 passes in a relief role. 1 for 4 since. And now pressure on. Escapes A.J. Gass. Looks downfield. And the receiver, Tony Akins, was in a duel with Fabian Burke and didn't know the ball was on its way. That's the final play of the 3rd quarter. Eskimos with the touchdown lead. It's become a slugfest, and after a slow Hamilton start, an interesting night. Eskimos trying to survive 4 games in 15 days at 2-2. While the Tiger Cats must come from behind here in the 4th quarter to get off the schneid and nail down their first win of the year. All other 8 teams in the league are in the win column, but for Hamilton.
But they have picked up some momentum. They picked up a little life. They're doing a lot of good things right now.
High snap was Balniston looking for a pass, and he'll be thrown down. Mike Bradley came in, and as Balniston looked like he was throwing all the way, but there weren't any receivers open. And I was going to ask you, Chris, why not try the field goal? They were in field goal range, although we have mentioned as Balniston seems to be not at 100%, but neither was this play.
Well, high snap. He's going to, you see, wants to punt it, then he pulls it down. My question is, why not throw it out of bounds? You've lost extra yards. Just get rid of the football. Don't take the tackle and the loss of yardage.
Well, he didn't look like Doug Flutie on that play.
No, he's not much of a scrambler.
And so the Eskimos get the ball at their own 46 instead of being pinned. Here's Terry Fawn, that little hitch back into the middle and into the heavy traffic. And Joe Montford is there.
Well, we take a look at the stats after the third quarter. 16-12 first downs. Again, Hamilton tightening up that race. 280 net yards, 130, a turnover each. Time of possession also evening out 24 to 20 minutes. Indicated by the score, by the lead, 24-17. Edmonton over Hamilton right now as we see some fisticuffs on the field.
Major foul, face mask, Hamilton number 30, first down.
Ed Hervey and Chris Schilling were involved, and apparently Schilling grabbed the mask.
And I guarantee it's always the second guy that gets caught. And it's just, again, a penalty you can't take. When you're starting to get some momentum, you're starting to do some things well. The previous play, defense, nice job of, pushing Terry Vaughn back inside where he gets nailed, and then they take a penalty on it.
So it's 1st and 10. They move into Hamilton territory at the 49. Pringle, right side, and Mike Pringle down to the 42. And that should be the 100-yard game for Mike Pringle. And it equals George Reed's record for most 100-yard games in a career, number 66.
Nothing fancy, just off the right side. Gets behind, as you take a look right now, tied with George Reed. 66 100-yard rushing games. Who knows where that'll end with Mike Pringle running the way he is. As Ron Lancaster says, he looks like he's 10 years younger than he actually is the way he's running.
And Pringle again with flags down. Looked like Hamilton was offside. As Pringle down to the 38, close to a first down.
Well, Chris Schilling is going to get nailed for the offside. The encroachment on the line of scrimmage. Ricky Ray doing a good job of changing the snap count. Seeing the blitzes coming, change the snap count.
Offside, Hamilton number 30, first down.
Cause the defender to jump. That's 2 penalties in a row, and you can see him shaking his head. He knows that. He's a pro. Chris Schilling's a pro. You just see he sneaks right in there. And
Schilling anxious to fill that hole and bring an abrupt end to a Mike Pringle rush. Instead, this Eskimo drive continues. First down at the 37. Ray slinging it to Pringle underneath. And he's down to the 32-yard line. And Mike Pringle needed just 6 receiving yards in this game to hit 3,000 in his career.
Offensive corner, Danny Machocho with the calls coming in there.
A lot's been talked about. Is Mike Pringle getting the ball enough? And Danny Machocho said, I've had Mike Pringle for a long time. He has never been healthy at the end of the year. And we want to make sure he is this year. So it is a concentrated effort to limit the damage.
And you and I have talked about that before the game. He hasn't played a full season since 1994, so that goes right with what you're saying.
2nd and 5, Montford got a piece of Ray, and the ball falls incomplete. That's the 2nd time Montford has got to the throwing arm of Ray tonight.
Well, there were people, Chris, who said Joe Montford is not the same player. Joe Montford, talking to us, said, you know what, I have to prove to my teammates who I am again. After spending the year in Toronto last year, where I only had 9 sacks, which is a very subpar year for Joe Montford, he felt like he came back and people said, you know what, maybe you're just not the same player. Well, after watching him today, you can tell that Joe Montford's a lot of fire in him, boy. He can still play this game.
106 career sacks, 15 of those have come against the green and gold. And now Sean Fleming will attempt a 39-yard field goal. The confusion on the Tiger Cat side of things as a player ran on and then off. Doesn't matter, Fleming makes good. And now it's a 10-point Edmonton lead. John Fleming 2 for 2 on the night, and the Eskimos with a 10-point lead. And starting this Thursday, CBC's coverage of the World Youth Track and Field Championships from Sherbrooke CBC Sports has live coverage of the event next Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern and on Sunday at 2 Eastern. Join host Joe Motiki with Don Whitman and Michael Smith as more than 1,400 athletes compete from around the world. Ticats find themselves playing catch-up again in the early stages of the fourth quarter. This time a play action, and Slack delivers a completion up near midfield. Trevor Shaw has his second catch of the game.
Trevor Shaw with the catch. Nice job. Reggie Slack with the play action, freezing the backside end. Powell, the middle linebacker, is going to come over the top. He recognizes that, but by the time he gets there, it's too late. You see 40 at the bottom of your screen. He's going to come up trying to force Reggie to throw that football. He does, but not before a completion to Trevor Shaw. Nice execution.
18 yards. We notice Ryan Donnelly is in at left guard in place of Pascal Charon. First down, a little dump pass, and Amerson can't bring it in. Archie's been the favorite receiver tonight, but that's a couple of balls.
Well, I tell you something that Edmonton did. They switched cover. Shannon Garrett took Archie Amerson this time man for man. We know that Cordell Taylor was having some problems with him. This time when he comes across the middle, 23, you can see him coming over there. That's Shannon Garrett. Again in a trail position. Had the ball been thrown where Archie could have caught it, would have been a big play. But I think Edmonton is saying, you know what, we may have to mix up our coverage right there.
And they've mixed up personnel. Rob Grant's in now. Fabian Burke has been in for a few series as they've made adjustments. Now Slack looks deep, looking for Aikens, and he's bumped, and flags fly.
Oh, good call, good call.
Fabian Burke on the back of Tony Aikens.
Well, you got speed like that. Tony Aikens goes to the corner. Fabian Burke loses sight of the football.
Edmonton number 19. First down.
Basically just runs right over the receiver. He's not even playing the football. He's tackling the receiver. Tony Aikens now playing. A big play for the Hamilton offense.
And it's spotted at the 25, so the play is a 32-yard Hamilton gain. 4 receivers wide side. Early movement and a flag down. Slack has an open man. There's Andrew English, reeled in by Daryl Crutchfield.
Well, Andrew English with the catch. Abdullah, the defensive end, I believe, jumped, but he's going to say there was procedure. You know, they always point at each other.
But it's going against the Eskimos. Eskimos don't play again until July 16th at Commonwealth against these Tiger Cats.
Just going to jump. He sees the back come up. Radlett comes up, and he gets fooled by the motion of the fullback.
Edmonton number 90. Repeat.
Tiger Cats have a tough stretch coming up. And their next game in Calgary on Friday night, then Edmonton the following Wednesday. And they are in search of their first win of the year. 1st and 5, trailing by 10. Slack, the shovel pass knocked down. Raheem Abdullah with yet another knockdown, and he leads the CFL in that category.
Well, Raheem Abdullah with a wonderful job of getting the hands there. Now this was a pitch. This wasn't just a high ball, this was a low ball. He almost did it like he was guarding in basketball. Take a look at him last week working against Winnipeg. Going down, knocking down a couple passes. Sky and climbing the ladder to get that one. And there's another deflected pass, and of course, he's all over.
And so it's 2nd and 5. Pressure on, Slack delivers, and Garrett in coverage. There's that adjustment. Garrett covering Amerson, and it's incomplete.
Well, Milt Stiegel, who's one of the stars of the CFL, probably the toughest one-on-one guy to cover as a receiver, says that Shannon Garrett is probably one of the best 1-2 halfbacks in the CFL. I think if you got a guy like that, and you know that the offense is prone to go or wants to go to Archie Amerson a lot, you put your best cover guy on it. Edmonton likes to play a lot of man-to-man. I think it's a great adjustment.
And so on 3rd down, Osbaldiston in. And he'll attempt a 27-yarder. Shaw the holder. And Osbaldiston with the 3 points. Not a lot of authority on that kick. You wonder about Oz's range, but they're within a touchdown. Well, Osbaldiston good on his second of the game, but Chris, clearly there is a leg problem for the veteran Osbaldiston.
Well, just a slow, soft golf swing right now. Just kind of putting it through, punching it through, and you can see him leaning over there. He's in a lot of pain.
Yeah, he brought the sand wedge for that because it didn't clear by much, and that was not a long field goal, 27 yards.
It does bring up the predicament. What if they need a field goal out, a long-range variety to win this football game, what they'll do?
And Oz is not going to kick off, but I think the Eskimos sense there's something wrong, so they opted for the kickoff return, and Andrew English, maybe an old soccer player, is going to do the duties in place of Osbaldiston. And he'll squib it downfield. October fielding it. And Winston October, a little room up the sidelines to the 45 as we check Mr. Walby's Canadian Tire game notes.
Well, we talked about Edmonton's offense against Winnipeg, red zone production, no touchdowns last week, 4 opportunities this week. You don't get much better, 3 touchdowns and a field goal. That's the way to do it. On defense, we said play discipline, no penalties, 7 defensive penalties, 98 yards. That's something the defensive coach is going to have to take a look at. Greg Marshall will talk to his players. We talked a look about Hamilton, stopped at 2 and out. 7 drives of 3 plays, 15 possessions. So 8 of them are 2 and out. And defense, we talked about create turnovers to help your offense. They have 1 forced fumble early in the first quarter.
Ricky Ray in relief, Mike Pringle, and he is stopped and driven back. And you have to hand it to this Hamilton defense, especially their front 7.
They got a good a front 7 as anybody in the league. Johnny Scott right there. Couldn't play in Toronto, but loves it here in Hamilton. He loves the fact that a lot of the rookies call him, you know, Mr. That's Mr. Scott. He said, there's a lot of respect. He says they got his seat cleaned off. They've got cold pop in his locker.
Now, you had the Birmingham Barracudas t-shirt on yesterday. Remember the Shreveport Pirates? Johnny Scott and Joe Montford started their CFL careers together in Shreveport back in '94. Ricky Ray on second down, downfield, and that ball incomplete. There was some contact, and the Eskimos can't believe the flag was not thrown. Corey Bailey, the intended receiver.
Corey Bailey got up, looked at the referee and said, come on, you got to be calling that. And I believe he had a point here. It looked like the DB had contact with the arm. Now look at, as you see that right there, that's Saunders. Now he's draped his arm around. He's not allowing the receiver, Corey Bailey, to even try to catch that football. That's a flag.
Now
that's interference there,
surprised
Chris.
that that flag wasn't thrown. Ray pays a price. Bailey still steamed.
Then go!
Fleming a high punt into the corner, and this will bounce out of bounds near the 15-yard line. A 51-yard punt by Sean Fleming. As Danny McManus and Reggie Slack confirmed before this Hamilton series, which will start with 7:49 remaining in the fourth quarter.
Remember, there's 2 trains of thought right now. Edmonton's at the end of a 4-game, 15-day cycle. They know they've got some time off. There's nothing better than going in at the end, winning that football game, and then enjoying your time off. Hamilton, on the other hand, wants to end this losing streak and get into the win column.
Because they are just entering a tough stretch of 4-15. Slack over the middle. There's Amerson. And there is Garrett. And that is the new matchup in the second half as the Eskimos try to put the brakes on Amerson's night.
Well, it's nothing fancy. It's a drag pattern just going to come across the middle. And you see Shannon Garrett, 23, just in the trail position, but again, good enough closing speed to wrap him up after the catch.
I guess you become a pretty good defender when you get to practice, as he did for many years, head-to-head against Milt Stegall.
Milt has undressed and embarrassed many a defensive back in this league.
2nd and 7 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Slack under pressure and down by Kelvin Powell. The middle linebacker drills Slack back to the Hamilton 5.
Well, Kelvin Powell is a wonderful story. Here's a guy last year, they wanted to call defensive signals. Was so excited, was hyperventilating, couldn't get the calls out. Comes back to camp, better physical condition, understands the game more, and again has one-on-one tutelage from one of the best in the CFL ever, linebacker Danny Kepler. You just don't get a better teacher, Chris.
Yes, Kep took Kelvin Powell under his wing, and the results have been obvious here in his second year. Nothing resembling a sophomore jinx for the Eskimos' top rookie last year.
You saw defensive coordinator Greg Marshall there. Obviously happy with that defensive effort as well.
Now as Baldiston on a gimpy leg has to punt the ball from his end zone.
Well, you wonder if with that bad leg, if he'll give up a safety. He's taking a time count right now. Would they give up a safety with 6 minutes left?
An interesting strategic decision.
Hamilton number 3, still third down.
When you got the bad leg, you're not going to get a great punt unless he booms one. Just guts it out.
And when you're down, why would you be killing time as they ran off a time count violation? The margin right now is 7.
Let go!
Punt it away. Not a bad kick, and it gets a Ticat bounce. October, and great coverage once again. That's Kyle Walters with the tackle. A 41-yard punt on the return. Well, Oz looks in discomfort, but a gutsy kick of 41 yards.
Gutsy kick because we know he's hurt on the hamstring. Now here's the return. The returner's over here, back a little deeper. But the big thing is he's going to kick it away from the returner, forcing him to chase the ball. Smart job by the veteran Paul Baldiston. It's a great punt, kicks it away, forces Winston October to chase the football. That allows his cover team to get down there and make the play. You can see every kick.
Well, he went through this late last year. And the Ticats may have to look for some kicking help before this rash of games. Ricky Ray airing it out down the sidelines, and the ball knocked away on a fine defensive play by the corner, Diedrich Mathis.
Well, Diedrich Mathis, who we haven't mentioned much today, and usually when you don't mention a cornerback's name, it means he's getting some respect. They haven't thrown at him very often. And I think Diedrich Mathis might be one of the better cornerbacks in the league right now. This is a nice job of breaking up ground when the ball is in the air. Initially got a step on him, then comes back, gets the hand on the football.
Second and 10 from the 42. At the top end of the Sean Fleming field goal range. Pringle brings it in a little closer. And so the Eskimos will be looking at a 45-yard attempt. And there are the key contributors to this 7-point lead tonight.
Now look at this situation, Chris. Last week, they never went for these, right? There was a little bit of a wind. We're not going to kick. We're going to play it safe. Now, every time they're in a situation where they have an opportunity to get points, now they're doing the aggressive act where they're going after it. This is what you have to do.
Well, they didn't do it the first chance of this game, and we wondered why not. But since then,
I mean, the guy's an All-Canadian last year. 81% of his field goals successful.
7 in a row for Sean Fleming. 145 out. And it's another an 8 straight field goal for the All-Canadian. And the Eskimos restore a 10-point lead.
You know, and with 5:11 left in a football game, all those points add up. And you build that cushion again. Now it's 2 scores to tie. Field goal and a touchdown.
The Eskimos keep checking that clock. Just over 5 minutes to go, and Ron Lancaster's team has been threatening tonight, but they can't get over the hump.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've seen a more inspired effort from the second quarter on. I'm not even going to count the first quarter because I thought that was a wash. But from the second quarter on, they've played Hamilton Ticat football like Ron Lancaster wants them to play. That's the positive right now. But he still would like to get a victory. That's the biggest thing he's after right now.
So Reggie slacking the Tiger Cats with under 5 minutes to go. Need 2 scores. Looks wide side, and English got a foot down and makes the catch. And we should mention Sean Fleming, a milestone kick. His third of the night is number 400 of his CFL career.
Well, he's steady. He's like a rock in there. And I tell you what, when you're a field goal kicker and you're riding the wave and you're successful, you just got all the confidence in the world. You can just see him. He's happy right now. He says, hey, whatever you put it, I'm going to put it through. There's not even a question.
8 for 9 on the year, and there's always interesting discussions with the fans here at Ivor Wynne. And now Julian Radlin, the big rookie fullback, powers his way across the 45 for a Ticat first down.
Well, I think when you have a guy like Julian Radlin, who I think is going to be a good football player in this league, and you got Troy Davis, sometimes you got to give it to the other guy. They're all expected to be with Troy Davis, the main ball carrier. But you got a power back. Utilize the power back's ability to get you those tough yards.
Again, born in Kingston, raised in Waterloo, came to Ticat football games here at Ivor Wynne, and now is the third pick in the 2003 draft, a member of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and this is going to require a measurement, and that's how close it is to a first down. But
I don't think there's a question right now.
Ron Lancaster's heated up because he thought Radlin had got to the 45. They mark it short.
Well, he didn't like the placement by the official. But I mean, when you've got inches to go, and if you can't make it now, you should be embarrassed. You have that yard. Remember, you got a yard off the line of scrimmage. You're only trying to pick up 3 or 4 inches.
Well, the Tiger Cats in danger of that. In '97, they finished 2-16. So 3rd and inches, and that'll move the chains as big Reggie Slack follows Carl Coulter, the man they call Cooler.
Well, Carl Coulter talked to the fellas, and he said, you know what? The O-line was taking some heat. They seem to be playing a lot better. Again, later on in this football game, come together as a unit. They made some mistakes the last couple games.
You could see Ron Lancaster trying to get them to up the tempo here a bit. Remember, they need 2 scores, and we're under 4 minutes to go. Here comes the rush, but Slack stands in, downfield, and incomplete again, trying to hit a streaking Tony Akins. And Shannon Garrett's been the best cover man tonight.
Oh, he is the cover man, and he's wherever it seems like that Reggie Slack wants to go with the football. Number 23 is there defending. But at least they're going downfield. They're making the secondary turn and run with them. Hamilton likes to run a lot of the dump pass or the crossing routes, or just, you know, where they drag over the middle and give Archie the ball. But sometimes I think when you got a guy with the speed of Tony Akins, you utilize him.
Well, this Eskimo defense had a standout performance despite the loss in Winnipeg. They limited Kahari Jones to just over 200 yards passing. Now Slack under pressure gets the ball away and has incomplete, ball dropped, and Tyree Davis thought he had a catch on that far sideline.
Well, good coverage by the back 7, but also good pressure up front, forcing Reggie to go. And you can see right now, there's your linebackers, here's your guys covering. Everybody's got to pick up a guy. If you freeze it right there, you can see everybody's accounted for right here. You got everybody covered. There's a guy over here, he's watching over here. That's exactly what you got to do in the secondary.
So Slack 7 for 14 now in the game. There's an injured Eskimo, and that gives Reggie Slack time to head back to the bench, and it looks like they're at the stage of the game where they have to gamble on 3rd down as Fabian Burke cramps up.
Well, I think you're at that 3-down football right now where you've got to go on every down.
Well, if you turn it over on downs, you put the Eskimos in field goal range, but you rely on your defense to limit it to a field goal, and you're still 2 touchdowns away from a win.
You know, that's one train of thought. The other train of thought that I like to look at is, as a coach, you have to have confidence in your offense. You have to say, you know what, I actually believe that you guys can get this done. I think if you start pulling them off the field and say, no, we're going to play, save, punt it out of the way, the defense, the way they've been playing, could get us the ball back, but they may eat a lot of the clock up, right?
Now, do you think this decision is impacted by Paul Osbaldiston's status as well? They know they're not probably going to get a 50-yard punt.
Well, you know what? We thought that then when he was back trapped in the end zone, he came up with a nice 41-yard effort. So you know, you got to give the Wiley veteran some credit sometimes. He's playing with pain, you know, and I don't have a lot of regard for kickers. The best at times, I think, you know, I've always told you my philosophy. They should be in the stands, come down and kick, and get back in the stands. Paul's been around for a few years. He's had a stint in Winnipeg. He knows what it's like.
292nd game in the CFL for Osbaldiston, who started his career in BC, and a guy by the name of Pisaglia was there, so he moved on to Winnipeg, where a punter by the name of Cameron was well entrenched.
Yes.
So it was a good career move to get to Hamilton.
Yes, it was.
So here we go, 3rd and 10 for the Cats. And Slack over the middle, Emerson the catch, and a first down at the Edmonton 51.
Archie Amerson again getting covered by Cordell Taylor, goes up, climbs the ladder. What a wonder, just a great catch. You see him, he took a shot catching that football.
Under 3 minutes to go, but the Tiger Cats still in the football game after the Emerson catch. Archie Amerson out for 3 plays, shaken up on that big catch, his 6th of the game. The other Tiger Cat receivers have combined for 7.
Well, the big play was he's the go-to guy. Now here's Archie here. I want you to take a look. Now this is AJ Gass here, and here's the cover guy. That's Cordell. Now watch what happens as we clear. He's just going to come around in here, make the play in front of Cordell Taylor and in front of the dropping AJ Gass.
Well, a huge catch by Amerson to keep the drive alive on that 3rd down gamble. And now Slack back to work, a flag down, and a catch by English on this near sideline, likely to be nullified by a holding call. And now it's Raheem Abdullah.
Well, they're going to call a chop block, an illegal clip or a chop block. You see Raheem Abdullah getting up. AJ Gass says put him back.
Tripping. Hamilton number 69. Repeat first down.
That's Ryan Donnelly, the St. Catharines native, called a call that is not often made in the CFL.
Well, that's Jerry Kraft right up at the top right here, and that's the guy that's going to do it. It's just going to get beat. Oh, 69, you're right. There's the trip. It's at the bottom of the screen.
And it was Jerry Crafts. My apologies to Ryan Donnelly. And so Reggie Slack back to work, and it's picked off. It's the first interception of the year by the Eskimos, and it's Rob Grant working his way back. And Grant inside the 25. And he'll score. Touchdown, Edmonton. Robert Grant. 70 yards on the return. And with 2:13 to go, that should ice it.
Well, you can hear the lid being put on the coffin. Reggie Slack just kind of forced to throw up there. Little underthrown. Robert Grant slides over. Get a little playing time today. Makes a nice job of coming up with an interception, but boy, what a wonderful job of running with the football after he intercepts it, making people miss, and all the way to the end zone.
In his 2nd CFL game, as his first Canadian Football League interception. Played at the University of Hawaii under a former CFL quarterback, June Jones.
There's a name for a pass.
There you go, man. Nice job. Hey, Rob.
Greg Marshall congratulating him.
And Fleming adds the extra point. It would be 7:20. Edmonton on their way to a 2-2 mark and on their way home.
Well, just a little underthrown. Trying to hit Larry Davis down the seam. Robert Grant just slides over, makes the interception, and of course, once he gets the ball in his hands, he makes people miss and takes it all the way to pay dirt.
Well, they had to make some adjustments in that secondary. Fabian Burke and Cordell Taylor were worked in and out. Grant worked in.
Hey, what's up,
we
Mama?
saw Danielle Whitehorse.
Everybody, what's up? I'm out here popping collars for y'all.
Take your helmet off, let me see who you are.
That's the 14th point off turnovers today.
There's an injured Eskimo getting attention. We'll take a timeout. Well, the Little General sees his team on the verge of dropping to 0-3. They fought back to tie a couple of times tonight, but as you can see on the line score, the Eskimos the better team in the fourth quarter.
Look at that. That's that first quarter. That was that horrible start that Hamilton got off. Now, if they had started like they did in the second quarter, in the first quarter, perhaps the outcome might be different.
Now, we know this is a competitive defense. Is this a competitive team when Danny McManus is at quarterback?
You know what? As soon as a guy like Danny McManus enters the huddle, everybody picks up. There's respect, there's confidence, and there's just a knowledge that you know that he can get it done. He's won championships, and that's how you judge a quarterback.
Well, Tom Higgins said that it would be unacceptable for the Eskimos to go home 1-3. That won't happen, barring a disastrous final 2-13. Longest losing streak for the Tiger Cats under Ron Lancaster, 5 games. In fact, last year was the first time he had a sub-500 record since returning to coaching after the first 2 years in Saskatchewan. That's Carlo Panaro shaken up on the play.
Well, he just received his doctorate degree on June 3rd, so he'll be prescribing his own medication.
He'll take care of himself. He's an amazing story. Orthopedic resident at the University of Alberta Hospital, and here's Stephen Fisher on the return, and he runs into Roger Reinson at the 30.
You know, I think there's some positives if you want to look at positives for Hamilton. The fact special teams really shored up from the game against Toronto. The defense again came out to play. They've got a good defense. I think if there's a question mark as we see David Corley coming in, this is the guy they really like.
I was going to say, when Reggie Slack came out, we said that the Hamilton coaching staff felt Slack is not the quarterback of the future. This may be the quarterback of the future.
This is a perfect time, albeit with 2 minutes left, to put a guy like this in. The game is lost, or they feel like it is, but I still believe it. We've seen teams come back with 2 minutes. 2 minutes can be a lifetime out here, but it'll be interesting to see what this kid did last week against Toronto. 6'11", 51, 1 touchdown. Ran the ball 2 times for 19 yards.
He mopped up in the 49-8 embarrassment at Sky Dome, and that's the Tiger Cats' season so far.
And this is what that 45 is what they got to correct. You have to get some points on the board.
And Mike Bradley was shaken up on the last kickoff, and the Eskimos just want to get out of Dodge here with no other injuries. Last week, Albert Reese in Winnipeg, that was an injury in the final minute.
Yes, but they also said all the guys they sent home were not serious injuries. Again, reflection of the confidence that the Eskimos have and the people they have on their practice rosters. They feel they can come and do the job, and that allows the first stringers of their stars to take care of those nagging injuries. Because if you think about it, they had a break after this game, so they could have forced them to play and said, you'll take the break after this game.
6 started on the Eskimos practice roster. There are 2 left, and the 4 others are in the lineup here in Hamilton tonight. So David Corley Jr. in at quarterback. Kelvin Powell trying to track him down, and he does. Back at the 22, and the Eskimos middle linebacker celebrates his 2nd sack.
Kelvin Powell's got one job only. Anytime there's a bootleg, he's going to come off the side and go to the quarterback. That is his responsibility. We've seen it time and time again. He's just going to come off here. As soon as the quarterback gets out there's number 40, the middle linebacker. That is his responsibility. We've seen it against Slack. We've seen it against the starter Gonzalez. Now we've seen it against Corley.
5th sack of the game. Number 6 might be outcoming, but Corley scrambles back to the 25. So that means with 5 sacks here, 14 on the year against Hamilton, they surrendered 15 last year.
Well, you got to give him a little break here. I mean, the fact is you're going 3 quarterbacks in one game right now. Your offense is not firing. If this is an 8-cylinder engine, they might be on 2 cylinders right now. They've got a lot of work to do. And I think the offensive line can only do their job. And sometimes when you got to hold these guys out forever, try to make things, it's frustrating, especially when, as you say, the running game virtually non-existent again.
Osbaldiston punting it away on 3rd down. October from his 50. And Winston October trying to get outside. Kyle Walters lines him up, and with some help, they bring him down. Sandy Beveridge, a second special teams tackle for the Tiger Cats tonight. And an 8-yard return for October. Well, two teams that won football games last night will celebrate the home opener in Montreal. It's Dave Dickinson and the Lions against Anthony Calvillo, who looked razor sharp in the second half at Taylor Field. Jermaine Copeland, what a night he had.
Well, Montreal's got an amazing receiving crew. Kwame Cavill, Copeland, Ben Cahoon. Oh, they're loaded.
Here's Pringle, and he runs into Johnny Scott and falls forward, dropped the ball, and Kyle Walters has it.
And you know what, Chris, and that's a fumble, but I think Mike Pringle thought, where's the whistle? He had basically stopped fighting. He was standing there, he was in the grasp. No whistle, ball popped out.
And he's upset.
Well, that's the second time, and that's why he is upset. And I think this time he's saying, come on, it's the end of the game, where's the whistle? I'm in the grasp, blow the whistle.
Here's my question. You've told us that you're not going to play him, you're not going to make him carry 25 or 30 times because you're saving him, and now he's carrying the ball with a minute and change on the clock and a 17-point lead.
Well, I'm going to correct my previous assessment. That play right there, Mike, you may be angry, but you fumbled the ball. You coughed that puppy up. I was sticking up for the big man there, but no. That was a bar of soap in the shower.
But Chris, I mean, he should have the rest of the night off.
Yeah,
I mean, 68 seconds to go, a 17-point lead.
He's got the record. He tied the record.
He had his 100-yard game.
Yep.
Now the Cats get the ball back, and Corley takes a long look, and now downfield Tyree Davis, and that's picked off by Malcolm Frank. So another interception for the Eskimos. And they get the ball right back.
Well, the newcomer's got a bit of a gun for an arm. Corley trying to go deep to the corner. Little pressure, sets up, lets it go. Malcolm Frank comes up on an interception. Gets knocked hard out of bounds by Troy Davis. And basically with a minute left, Edmonton can basically kneel down and kill the clock.
Frank, a solid veteran on the corner. In his 7th year, actually retired for 3 seasons. Former teammate of Mike Pringles and Troy Mills in Sacramento. And they give the ball to Pringle again. And again, I'm a little surprised by this, Chris. Does somebody on that bench not know he has his 100-yard game?
Well, you know what, but listen, you know what Mike Pringle's like too. He refuses to be brought to the football game. He wants to carry the football every time. Remember, he was the main show in Montreal. He's not the main show in Edmonton. But an equally impressive job of stuffing Mike Pringle on that play. The defense has done a nice job. He got 100 yards, but they've been hard-fought yards.
And now Mills close to the 49. It'll be 3rd down.
See, in retrospect, what you're saying there, this is another guy, Troy Mills. Why not put him in? Let him have some touches himself. I mean, he's an excellent back. Came in last year at the Grey Cup, and when John Avery couldn't get it done because of the hamstring problem, had 80-something yards rushing. Ricky Ray just watching the clock tick down.
Timeout. Edmonton
takes a timeout. And now they send in Kojo Aidu, and there's a guy that, you know, grew up in this area, was a McMaster star, and a carry in the final minute might be a nice touch here.
Well, with 9 seconds, and they're bringing him into the football game. You'd have to think that, but I'm almost of the thought process that you just kind of take a knee now and you've got the victory to go home. Enjoy your time off.
Yes, they have survived the 4 games in 15 days. And they'll go home with a 2-2 record. And it'll be Mike Pringle one more time with a flag down as he gets the first down to midfield.
Now there's 4 seconds left. You got to take a look at Mike Pringle running the football here. Is this the last carry of the game or the first carry of the football game? Watch the effort. If we get a chance to look at that play again, he is just amazing to watch. The desire. I mean, he's just fighting. I mean, this is not the end of the football game. He's breaking tackles, lowering his shoulder. He's fighting, spinning, doing whatever he has to do to pick up yardage.
Offside. Hamilton, number 97. That penalty is declined. First down.
Lamont Bryant was offside on that last Pringle carry. And we'll do some final bookkeeping on Mike Pringle, and this the final play of the game. And Pringle with 116 yards on the game. Doesn't look like he'll touch the ball again. The knee is down. This game is in the books. Or is it? There is a flag down. 37-20, the Eskimos prevail. Their record 2-2. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats remain winless in 2003.
Edmonton, no end, decline.
Well, you talked about Mike Pringle, what he's done. Is take a look at the back. Again, the magic number, 116 yards, but 20 carries. The same numbers, coincidentally, they had when they won the victory against Calgary. That might be the number he wanted to get.
Yeah, they had to get the quote up, and we're going to go downstairs and join Brent.
Well, Ricky Ray, this team had so many injuries heading into this game. I guess it's really a testament to the depth of this team that you won this game.
Yeah, we had a lot of young guys step up today. We had to fill a lot of spots with injuries. You can see that Brock, Corey, and Rob both got their first, really their first starts, and they came away with touchdowns, so that's pretty amazing. So we're happy with the way the guys stepped up and finished off this road trip.
Now, we were surprised at the beginning of this game to see that Bart was starting. Then you come into the game. Can you give us the lowdown on what happened tonight?
I was a little dinged up, so they were trying to give me a little extra rest, but they told me that, there's a good chance I'd come in and play, and that's the way the cards fell, and I was just happy to come in and help my team win.
This team is now 2-2 on the season. How satisfied are you with that record?
Not very satisfied. We would have liked to have gotten off to a better start. We haven't played the way that we wanted to, so hopefully this week off we'll be able to go back and correct things and get rolling.
Enjoy the rest.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Brian.
Thank you, Brenda. The Edmonton Eskimos go to 2-2. We'll take a break, then we'll have our play of the game and back with analysis. You're watching the CFL on CBC. And that flame burning in the stack at Stelco, the Steel Company of Canada. That's about 10 blocks from where I'm sitting here in Hamilton at Iberwin Stadium, where the Eskimos have defeated the Ticats 37-20. Panel has some thoughts, but prior to that, once again, here's Brenda Irving. Brenda?
Well, Mike Pringle with a huge game tonight for the Edmonton Eskimos. And Mike, how does it feel to break that record by George Reed, or to tie it?
It's good to finally get it behind me, and it makes it that much better that it comes with the victory.
Well, the Hamilton defense, they certainly were not pushovers tonight.
No, we didn't expect them to be pushovers. We watched the film. They have the very talented defense, and, it was a hard-fought game.
We played 4 games in about 2 weeks. Are you surprised at how the team stood up tonight?
No, we knew that this was the last game of a long stretch. So we just bared down and said we're going to go 4 quarters, and when this is over, we have a couple of days off.
Now, heading into that third quarter, Hamilton seemed to have the momentum. How were you able to shut them down?
Our defense did extremely well, shutting down some of the things that they did offensively, and came up with some key interceptions.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Brent Irving with Mike Pringle as we come back into our booth, west end of the stadium, with Sean Millington, Greg Frères, Darren Flutie. I'm Brian Williams. Time for our Subway play of the game. Darren Flutie, it's all yours. What do we got?
Well, I guess we got to go with the Rob Grant 70-yard interception for the touchdown. At this point in the ball game, they're down by 10, Hamilton. Reggie's trying to force a play, make something happen. steps in, makes a nice pick. What I didn't like to see from Hamilton at this point, he's running it back, and there's kind of a lack of effort here, trying to bring him down. You know, you're only down by 10, you still got a chance to win the game.
That's the Hamilton we saw in the first quarter, a total lack of emotion. They seemed to get some life, and then on this play, they looked like they didn't care again, and that is a major problem for this team. And remember, I talked about the crowd tonight, 12,490. This franchise has got problems off the field. They continue to play football like this on the field, they're going to have even bigger problems. Let's talk about, we saw Mike Pringle with Brenda Irving. What do you have tonight, Greg? How many yards?
116 yards. I mean, we talked about how he needed to be a factor coming into this game. 116 yards, and I tell you what, he just continued to grind over and over and over and again. This is the type of Mike Pringle that we're used to seeing.
Okay, I want you to wrap your mind around this, Darren Flutie. 66 100-yard plus rushing games. 66 for the #1 in the league ever. I mean, that's an amazing performance. I don't care what you say. This guy is not a dime a dozen. This is a one-of-a-kind running back.
You get a rebuttal here, Darren.
No, listen, I got all the respect in the world for Mike Pringle. Great career. He played a great game tonight, and I don't think Brian Williams could rush for 66 100-yard games. I just don't think you could do it.
Let me tell you something. Ron Lancaster told me yesterday the amazing thing, and Sean's a running back, but you all three of you played this game. At his age, 35, to have taken the hits he did. When he went down last year, Ron said, like everyone else, I thought, that's it, end of a great career. I don't know if we can appreciate how hard he worked in the offseason to get in shape.
Well, I can appreciate how hard he worked, because I've had those injuries. I blew out my knee. I know the kind of time and effort that it takes for a guy like that to come back and be performing at this level, at this stage in his career. It's frankly amazing.
Some thoughts?
And he doesn't stop. You know, I think that the guys upstairs made a great comment. I mean, this is the last 2-3 plays of the game, and the guy is still pushing for extra yards. And, you know, that's just impressive. That's the kind of workhorse that he is. He just continually pounds and grinds it out.
You were out there receiving balls today from Danny Mack. You can appreciate what he had to do to get in shape.
Oh, Danny Mack or Mike?
No, Mike Danny Mack.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you look at him. He's so strong. He's just this ball of muscle to take on, and he's, like I said, he carries the pile like 5 or 6 yards with every rush after his first contact, and that's where he gets his yards.
We talk about Edmonton injuries, and folks, these are key injuries. You got Reese, you've got Peyton, you've got Glenn Young, who came in for Ray as the middle linebacker. What does it say about this organization? I mean, the depth is amazing. They find players 4 and 5 down. Other teams can't find backups. What's going on out there?
I think it's the organization, the tradition in Edmonton. People want to play in Edmonton. They love their football in the city. They have a good front office. Hugh Campbell's traditionally done a good job with football players.
I think it's a good understanding of what the CFL season is all about. I mean, injuries are a part of this game. They have to prepare for down the road. They have to have some depth. They have to understand they have to have breadth. And, you know, they've created a great structure to continue to win even when you have these obstacles.
Earlier when the fellas were saying 4 games in 15 days are tough, Millington was saying, nah, it's part of the Canadian Football League. The Eskimos have adapted to this league.
Well, the Eskimos are Canada's football team. They have done a great job with this. It's been really challenging. Hey, I've played those games in that short period of time, and it takes its toll on your body. But hey, to come out of here, to play tough, to come away with the victory, that's a real testimony to Edmonton's grittiness and to their toughness.
Edmonton Eskimos will head home with a record at 2-2 after 4 games in 15 days. The Hamilton Ticats fall to 0-3. Stay with us, one more break, and we'll wrap it up live from Ivor Wynne on a Saturday night.